Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
You served and forged the relationships that only being baptized in the fire of combat can develop. At FallInVeteran.com, we understand the unique bond that veterans share. That's why we've created a platform where you can connect, share experiences, and build lifelong friendships with fellow veterans. Signing up is easy. Simply visit www.fall-in-veteran.com and create your profile. Customize it to reflect your military service, interests, and hobbies. FallInVeteran.com is more than just an online community. It's a support network where you can find resources, advice, and encouragement from those who understand what you've been through. Whether you're looking for camaraderie, mentorship, or simply a place to share your stories, FallInVeteran.com has it all. Join thousands of veterans who have already found their tribe and start connecting today. FallInVeteran.com. Come join us and experience the power of community. Sign up now at www.fall-in-veteran.com.
Hello and good afternoon. My name is Randy Mullins, driver of the 54 Chevrolet for Paradigm Motorsports. As you can see, we're sponsoring the race tonight, so I'm going to give you a little insight on ISCA. People ask me all the time, why do you run that league? Well, I run it for a few reasons. The long green flag runs, the good respect level that's in there, along with their etiquette. Everyone drives clean and it's fun, but they also race very hard. That is something I've yet to find in any other league on the iRacing server, and you dang sure are not going to get those in the opens. So if you're not in it, come check us out.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series. This is going to be an exciting race here tonight at Las Vegas. Get ready to go gambling here for the Paradigm 250 at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, the first race of the round of 8. After this race, there will be 2 more races in the round of 8 to determine who will be the final 4 for the ISCA Super Cup Championship of 2024. I'll tell you what, I'm excited. My name's Brian Britt. I have Big Al Alfonso Nixon as my co-commentator here tonight. Kobe Jordan down behind the cameras. Big Al, we're here at Vegas. I think a lot of these guys got gambling on their minds, considering they have not too many chances to get to the round of 4 here.
Ooh, we're in Vegas, baby. And I'm going to tell you what, it's been a scorcher. And I don't mean necessarily temperature-wise, but this track has been on fire this week. And I'm telling you, I'm super excited for this race that we got here tonight. Tell us, I think there's playoff implications in the air. What's going on with that, Brian?
Yeah, there definitely is. Of course, we still have to settle out what happened last week. I mean, I thought Josh Schaffner was going to be in the final 8. Unfortunately, let's look at the standings here before we go any further. Patrick Gitter, of course, he goes on to the round of 8. He is now set to do battle for, to try to be in the final 4. I think he might be one of the guys. We'll see if that's going to be the case or not. Brandon Passalacqua, he is, of course, in the round of 8. He's been struggling here lately. Got to mention, though, Matt DeCiani, of course, he's in. Clayton Hoffman, he's in. Brian Johnson, he's in. Abner Acosta, even though he missed last week the Roval, he is in. Randy Mullins, he is in. And Tim Wortman Jr., by the skin of his teeth, just barely made it in. Because of his great finish, was able to jump ahead of Alexander Carr as well as Josh Schaffner. Schaffner fell back outside of the top 8. Unfortunately, was not able to make it into that top 8. And the Corn Man definitely got to be feeling the effects of that for sure. Just showing up here probably had to be a little bit of a depressing, drive to Las Vegas, if you will. But let's look at the details of the race here. Of course, this is the Paradigm 250, 250 miles of racing here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. 167 laps on the docket here this evening. Stages are set to be stage 1, of course, concluding on lap 35, going to 36. Stage 2, 75, going to 76. Of course, 6 sets of tires altogether. 5 actually going to be down in the pit. 65 laps is the fuel window, so pretty long fuel window we have here tonight, but of course not enough to make it that final stage. We'll probably see a green flag pit stop possibly here, as of course qualifying has begun here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Seeing a lot of guys starting to make their way out. I was talking about Tim Wortman Jr. He is kind of almost a clutch driver in a way, to where he was able to make it into the round of 8. He's already out there in practice. Of course, he was, I do believe, 3rd quick here at Vegas. So expecting some fast driving there from the 83. Very fast the last few weeks. Now, I do want to talk about Brandon Passalacqua, and he's one I think he's going to have to step it up here this week, Big Al. The last few races, he has not been doing well. He's had some DNFs, and that's not like Brandon Passalacqua to have DNFs. So really keep an eye on this 6. Has he kind of brought that speed, that consistency that we usually know him for, or has maybe the playoffs maybe be getting under his skin a little bit?
Well, Brian, there's a lot going on, man. And one thing, too, that a lot of people, you have to take this in consideration. You have to take the playoff racetracks into consideration, because just because it's the round of 4 or the round of 8, you still have to be good at those tracks. And if Homestead's not your strong suit, if Vegas isn't your strong suit, if Phoenix isn't your strong suit, then you're really just kind of narrowing your opportunities. Martinsville, these tracks are really kind of unique to themselves as well. So it's not just a cookie cutter, one and done kind of thing. So once you get into the playoffs, yeah, that's when you really got to dig into your golf bag and be able to hit a lot of different sticks, man. And so I'm sure Brandon might have just had a couple off days, but hopefully he's got his swing back.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping as well. I mean, this guy has been absolutely consistent all season. Probably one of the most consistent drivers, in the ISCA, that's for sure. And right now, of course, he had the pole there for a moment, lost it very quickly as Tim Wortman Jr. shoots to the top of the board with a 29.320 as qualifying times are starting to come in. Randy Mullins jumps up to second place. Now, Randy Mullins is another one that has been very consistent this season. Hasn't, I don't think, been lighting up the screens or anything. I wouldn't say his name has been in lights, but he's been doing good enough to be in this Final Four, or this Final Eight, I should say. What does he need to do to get back into victory lane? Because I know he's done it, on his own here. I know a lot of people were kind of holding it against him whenever Michael Conti, me included, when Michael Conti won for him, of course, didn't help him to actually secure a playoff position. His performances himself has secured his playoff position here.
Yeah, so the one thing he's going to have to do tonight, Brian, and it's what everybody's going to have to do. They're going to have to save. And what I'm talking about there is I'm talking about tire. Tires is going to be the key to the race car tonight. These cars, I mean, the cars are fast. They're spooky fast, and some guys are even tempted to ride around this thing with the throttle just full bore to the floor, and you're just not going to be able to do that. Drivers going to have to be able to set this thing and try to get as close to that full tank of gas out. Now, it's going to be great for the first two stages because, you're just racing 35 laps, and then you're racing again 40, just under 40 laps for the second stage. But that third stage, that's when it's really going to come out. So first couple stages, I'm looking to see guys just put the hammer down and have fun. You know what I mean? It's Vegas, baby. And then after that, I think you really got to go and just start putting on the back stretch.
Yeah, I think the stage, you're going to be able to kind of drive it a little bit harder for 35 laps. I mean, that's not, that's a long enough run, but it's still about a half a fuel run. So you're going to be able to kind of do some experimenting, see exactly what the car is going to do. I know you have some experience doing NIS the other day, so we'll have to get into that a little bit later. But right now, we're going to go ahead and take a step away. We'll pay some attention to our sponsors. But before that, of course, we'll play our national anthem. We'll be right back.
Race fans, it is time for those most famous words in motorsports.
Driver, start your engine!
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to the ISCA Super Cup Series here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Tim Wortman Jr. grabbing the pole position. I talked about him being the clutch driver last round. Of course, he's going to be clutch and grab the pole here with a 29.320. Clayton Hoffman turning in a last-second time. He's going to qualify in the second-place position. Of course, Randy Mullins, he's in third. So great job for the Paradigm driver of the 54. Brandon Pasalacqua, he's going to be starting in fourth place. Dylan Banks, of course, we're no strangers to him. He's been up in the booth here before. He's going to be starting in fifth. Jeffrey Souza starts in sixth place. Matt DiCiani, another playoff driver, going to be starting in seventh place. Greg Wyszynski, he starts in eighth. Nick King in ninth. And Kenny Powell qualifies 10th.
That's going to let Matthew Cisna slide in the 11th place with Derek Heitman alongside him in 12th. 13th is Patrick Gitter. Paul Hill is second on his outside. Mark Sanchez rolls in 15th with Andrew Griesbaum on his outside in 16th. 17th says Abner Acosta. Abner's really got to get it going. He wants to stay in the playoffs. 18th, Jose Medina. 19th, Dave Hughes Jr. And Connor Banks rounds out the top 20.
21st is Alexander Carr. He had a really good playoff kind of going for him. Unfortunately, he's on the outside looking in now. 22nd, Jay Hone. 23rd, Randy Drumhiller. 24th, Paul Whitney. 25th, Greg Carr. Brian Johnson, he, of course, is one of the playoff drivers. He's starting all the way back in 26th position. John Schaffner, fortunately, on the outside looking in, starts in 27th. Derek Jacobs in 28th. 29th, Paul Olson. 30th, John Bender. And, of course, we have a driver, Jordan Saylor's familiar face, going to be starting in 31st, as that is going to round out this 31-car field here this evening at Vegas. Isn't that just impressive? I got to say, for the ISCA to see, well, looks like Matthew Cisna pulling down to the apron here. Everybody hasn't started moving yet, but unfortunately he didn't get the memo. So I'm not sure what that is. Maybe I do believe he's got an end of the line penalty here that he's going to be serving. So it makes a lot more sense now that I think about it. But isn't this impressive, though, Big Al? 31 cars, and we only have like a handful of races left in the season. A lot of times when you see in these leagues, I got to say I've called a lot of races in a lot of different leagues. And towards the end of the season, that's when you see kind of crickets. That's when you don't see people show up to these races because they don't have the incentive to when it comes to winning a championship. But the ISCA has been different this season. The ISCA, you still can get 30 cars showing up, even though none of these guys, most of them, don't have a chance for a championship.
Yeah, it's not just about being in it for the championship is about the camaraderie and being out here racing amongst the best in the series. So, yeah, that's the reason why these fields are full, and I think next year is going to be no different. We do need to talk about the caution situation, though. That's one of the things that we're going to need to gabber about, if you will.
Yeah, that's definitely something we're going to talk about here. Of course, we'll wait until we get going green, and we'll kind of do the over-unders. I think that's exactly what you're talking about here. Pace car getting ready to take that left turn down pit road, though, as Tim Wortman Jr. gets prepared to enter the Geico restart zone. Green flag is out for the first time here at Las Vegas. Wortman, I do believe maybe have started in the wrong gear here. He slows up the bottom line. Clayton Hoffman's going to possibly lead it into turn one, and he will. Brandon Boslago giving some big pushes to the back end of the 92. But here comes Wortman. He has gathered it back up.
Nick King finds himself in a very precarious situation as he's a part of this 3-wide situation. And that's something we really got to work out. That's going to carry right on into turn 3. And we're going to see some 3-wide.
I'm going to go ahead and say we're going to have 2 cautions for cause here tonight. What do you say, Big Al?
I'm going to have to slam 1 then.
All right. What do you think, Kobe? So he's going with 3. So we got 1, 2, 3. As we see some racing going on right here. Clayton Hoffman has taken the lead. Pasalacqua ripping the top side, able to drop down in front of Wortman. So Wortman back to now third, our pole sitter. Jeffrey Souza starting to attack the 83 here. As now Pasalacqua going for the lead here. There goes Brandon Pasalacqua to the front of the field. Now, one thing I know about this racetrack, I've done 1A Open, and I know you've done some NIS or done an NIS race, is one thing I've noticed is that clean air is so important at this track.
Yeah, that's the reason why these guys are running so hard right now, Brian. They're trying to get this thing's going to shake itself out eventually, but right now guys are racing to try to get to the front because in this stage, if you let these guys go, you're never going to catch them. So they understand that. That's why you got to put, the 21 of Derek Heitman gets bumped by Greg Wachinski just a little bit.
I mean, we're seeing almost 4 wide further back here. I mean, look at Derek Heitman. He's in the middle here. I mean, these guys are everywhere. I mean, this is crazy.
Yeah, but if you trust these guys, and they do, they're kind of like the Blue Angels, if you will. They're the ISCA Angels down there because, you're going to get a little tight. You just want to make certain that these guys give and take. You don't want to push anybody down below the white. And you really don't want to go 3 wide, especially this early. Now, once we get towards the end, that's going to be a different story. Kind of was surprised to see that we did have as many incidents as we did. But, man, look at Clayton go.
Yeah, Jeffrey Souza at the front of this field down the 96 machine up top, or I should say up the top of the leaderboard. Brandon Pasalacqua just kind of hanging out behind him. Clayton Hoffman sits in the 3rd place position. Matt DeCiani, he's been a big mover. He's already up to 4th right now. From what I've heard, the Team Conti guys do have some fast race cars here this week, so wouldn't be surprised to see them towards the front of the field. I know the name of the game, though, this week is going to be tire conservation. You mentioned that. What was your experience in the NIS?
NIS was just awesome. The cars, they drive like Cadillacs, man. The setups are fast. And I mean, I'm looking at the lap times, and one of the things Jeffrey Souza just put down his fastest lap time on that last lap. And right now, he's trying to eke into the 29s, man. And that's just crazy to think that we're racing and having sub 30 second laps out here tonight.
Yeah, Patrick Gitter has hit a 29.8. I do believe he's got the fastest lap of the race right now. He turned that last time by. So very quick in the 21 machine. And, of course, he's a previous series champion. He is currently the defending champion. So it's no wonder that Gitter is driving so hard. I mean, he knows that he wants to go back-to-back. I mean, it's one thing. It's a huge statement to win a championship in the ISCA. But to win 2 in a row is almost like you're just a legend now. Like that you know what I mean? Like what can you say about this guy? You can't say he's not skilled. I mean, but if he goes back to back, he's in the Hall of Fame.
I think he's already in the Hall of Fame, man. I'm just digging this whole setup here tonight, man. And I just got back in racing this week. I'd taken a hiatus, but I just have such a fond appreciation of how fast these guys are actually going. And the thing about it is they're probably pushing a little bit harder than, say, Clayton Hoffman wants to. They're pushing a little bit up because these guys are just flat out getting it right now. And will they be able to keep that up for 35 laps? I guess we're going to find out.
Yeah, and they are definitely flying. One driver in particular is flying that we're seeing is Greg Wyszynski in that 5 machine. Of course, he had some issues to where he was actually on the outside looking in, or he is now on the outside looking in of the playoffs right now. But he's driving like it doesn't matter. He's driving like, hey, man, I'm trying to get out here and get some points. And that's another factor, another variable, if you will, for, you even mentioned it. Clayton probably doesn't want to drive this fast right now. Well, all these non-playoff drivers are pushing him to drive this fast. I mean, you got Derek Heitman. He's on the outside looking in. He's pushing Clayton to drive a little bit harder than he probably wants to.
Yeah, and that is the thing right now, because usually you can kind of pace yourself, but I just think these guys are just going to flat out get it. So maybe we'll see tires might fall off. They're going to fall off about 20 laps into this thing.
And look at Derek Heitman. I mean, Heitman just driving through the middle right there and almost in a way kind of endangering his teammate Matt DeCiani. But, of course, DeCiani kind of goes down to the bottom, allows his 76 of Heitman to kind of work his way through. But that was definitely, I think that showed a lot of trust, the 76 and the 1, the way how close they were to one another.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with getting a little close out here. Like I said, everybody, This is precision flying right here at almost 200 miles an hour, right?
Yeah, these guys are flying very, very close together. And a lot of times you race your teammates harder than you probably race someone else. As we see 3 wide further back, I do believe Dylan Banks up top there. I do believe Nick King was in the middle.
Nick's been in the middle of a lot of 3 wide situations. What's really going on, Nick? Why don't you talk to us, buddy? Every time we see him down there, he's just trying to beat him eating the dang bread sandwich there.
Yeah, I don't know. That's funny, isn't it? Well, I know Kenny Powell definitely very fast here at Las Vegas. Saw him, I do believe, in the SSRL. Wasn't able to call that race, of course, so somebody else did. But I did watch the ending of the race and saw Kenny Powell earned, I do believe, like a 6th or 7th place. Was up on the podium there at Vegas in the SSRL, the Spartan Sim Racing League. And so Kenny's got some speed here at Vegas this weekend. And there's not the guys in that league are not slouches either, Big Al. I mean, just like the ISCA, it's full of heavy hitters.
Yeah, but Kenny's got his hands full right now, but also Kenny's rocking a new paint scheme down there, so way to go 2-4. But yeah, man, we still got a long way to go, and I'm watching Patrick Gitter now. I think he has made his way up to the front. That's going to be our 3rd leader here since this thing has actually started, Brian. That's any indication of what kind of night we're going to have down here. About 20 laps to go here in the first stage.
Yeah, we're already seeing quite a bit of fall off as well. Over half a second, about 0.6 of fall off, I'd say, for some drivers. Patrick Gitter, he ran the fastest lap. He's got the clean air right now, but he's still falling off quite a bit so far. But he's able to stay up front. Let's see how long he's able to stay up front, as we see Jeffrey Souza under fire right now from, I do believe that is Derek Heitman in the 76. Of course, Heitman being pushed by Pasalacqua as Sousa's running that higher line. Now, the high line can be very fast here at Las Vegas, but I've heard that it does hurt the tires if you're up there too long.
Well, here's the thing. Yeah, you can run high and you can pick up speed, but the longer you stay up there, Brian, the harder it's going to be for you to bring that thing back down to the white. So you'll see guys, if they're running that medium line right around the seam, I think that's about where the sweet spot is. But any lower than that, you're burning, and any higher than that, you're burning. Low is definitely faster. If you can get that car low down to that white line, especially with, say, 5 to go, those guys are going to be the guys you're calling boss.
Yeah, I think those are the guys that are going to be really conserving their equipment. I mean, you can see Patrick Gitter, that's where he's running right now. He's trying to run it on the white line. Now, from what I've heard, though, as well, I've done an A Open, and one thing I noticed was in the middle of 1 and 2. There's a bump, and if you go not low enough, if you don't go low enough, you will hit that bump, and that will make that car super, super loose. Also, 3 and 4. 3 and 4 is going to be a tricky place, I think, all night tonight. That's where I think we're going to see some guys get loose, really loose.
Especially once those tires start to wear out, and once it's like you're dating a shady lady. You know what I mean? You can feel her stepping out on you once you get between 3 and 4.
Yeah, and that's one of the, I think, parts of this track where you're going to be rewarded for being patient, right? You're going to have to kind of wait to get back onto the gas, or almost even pedal it a little bit, kind of almost dirt track it through 3 and 4. You got to be really careful. If you got too much gas in it, it could step out on you very easily. And once it steps out, I think it's going to be really hard to save as well.
Yeah, I've seen some pretty good saves, though, coming out of 3 and 4. I've had a couple of good ones myself. So, yeah, we'll be looking for that. And also, Brian, I think it's so unfortunate because once these cars bounce off the wall, they turn into ping pong balls, or pinballs, and and that's going to tear some cars up. So that's another thing we're looking out for.
Well, so far so good. I mean, you could tell still the fall off is definitely, I'd say, exceptional. We're seeing almost a second of fall off right now from Patrick Gitter. Of course, his fastest lap was a 29.803. Right now, he's hitting 30.665. So, big hit on the wall there from Paul Hill. Paul Hill was coming off a turn 2.
You don't want to do that too many times because a good scrub like that, next thing you know, without any X's, you find yourself with wheel damage, and that's going to put you behind the wall for about 8 minutes, Brian. So that's another thing. Because once you come around, you carry so much momentum. It's easier for these guys to kind of get sucked up into old Waldo.
Yeah, it definitely is. And some drivers are struggling more than others. I mean, you look at lap times. I mean, Jeffrey Souza, who ran on the higher line for a little bit of time, he's kind of starting to struggle, I think, a little bit here, starting to get attacked by Clayton Hoffman. Hoffman, of course, trying to be that bottom feeder, running that bottom line, and you're seeing that's paying dividends right now, that he's starting to surge ahead. Clayton is one that always usually knows exactly what pace he needs to run, and that's what his strength is. He knows, I need to run this lap, I need to run this lap, I need to run this lap, and he's got it all almost mapped out for the entire run, and now it's starting to kind of go his way. I mean, lap time-wise, Clayton is the fastest in the top 10.
It's 10 to go. I mean, it's time to put the hammer down and get her done, and I think Clayton knows that. Because one thing it really does, it still matters to him. These guys need stage points as well as wins. Those are the two things that matter most, especially for the playoff drivers that are in that contender bowl. But yeah, man, still going. I like the way this thing is kind of shaking out, and you're right. Clayton has got the hammer down, and he is on his way to the front. Patrick Gitter's still leading this thing, but he's got his hands full with Derek Heitman right behind him, and DeCiani, he's got to shaking his leg just a little bit as he is kind of closing the gap as he's running from Clayton as well. So it's going to be a shootout here, Brian, especially as we get closer to the end of this thing.
Yeah, I mean, Team Conti's got a 1-2-3 right now. They got to be really, really happy with the way that's going. But I got to think, I don't think Heitman is happy to be behind Gitter right now. I think he wants to be in front of him, but it looks like he's going to go up the track. He gets tight, a little bit wiggly there, a push-loose scenario, and Heitman has lost the spot. Now we see, of course, DeCiani in second, but under fire.
He's going to lose multiple slots right there once that happens, man. Now, if he can check that off, that's great. But once he fade like that, that kind of lets you know exactly what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, he was looking really good, really strong. He looked like he was actually even challenging Patrick Gitter a little bit there. But I think that maybe the car is a little bit on the tight side, so maybe some adjustments going to be needed for that driver. As you can see, Clayton Hoffman trying to capitalize, but the 76 has been able to recover pretty smoothly here. He's running the higher line. So this is hurting Clayton. And one thing I noticed as well, that a lot of complaints I've heard from drivers this week, no matter what, has been how hard it is to pass. You know, you can run on this bottom and you can try to, get the pass completed, but it's going to be really difficult to get the run on exits.
I mean, especially the situation that you're seeing right now, because this track is at so many undefined lines, I guess you would say. And so Clayton, he's pushing the 76 down. And if Heitman can continue to run down there, these guys are going to stay side by side until somebody backs out. Three-wide situation going on here. Pasalaka is going to try to go low to get the advantage. Looks like it's not going to happen.
This is definitely looking really scary. I mean, we saw Heitman and Clayton almost kind of they touched. I do believe they actually did touch there. So I mean, that could have easily turned into a crash right there. But you know, these guys are professionals in a lot of ways. Of course, they're some of the best on the service to do it.
The 76 definitely starting to feel a little bit loose conditions right there, but you want that car to be a little loose, but this is the time of the race where that looseness is definitely comes with a little bit of penalty. 5 laps to go right here in the stage. It's beyond go time right now. And it's time to just leave that rubber on the track, and you can see Clayton's doing just that as he has kind of got himself a little bit of a cushion now from Derek Heitman, and now he's really starting to set his sights on DeCiani and Patrick Gitter.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what happens. I think Clayton has got his eyes right there on DeCiani. And he's closing in. I mean, look at the lap times. I mean, he was about 0.2 faster that time by than DeCiani. But will it be enough? These guys are coming up to 4 laps to go here in stage number 1. Patrick Gitter is in control. He's got the clean air, and I think clean air has been so key. I hope if we get to talk to him, I definitely would like to talk to him about what that clean air actually does for you. Does it help with the tire wear? But I don't know. We might be talking to Clayton Hoffman because Hoffman is bearing down on the 1.
Yeah, it definitely helps with the tire wear, Brian, because you're actually able to run your own line. See, these other guys, they're being forced to run either high or low, just depending on where the car's at. As Kenny Powell gets into a little bump there with Nick King. Just getting sporty back here, and I think a lot of that has to do with those tires wearing out also, Brian.
Yeah, Tim Wortman Jr., I talked about him being, very good, I'd say, in the final bit of the round of 12. Made it to the round of 8. We see, I do believe, Matthew Cisna coming down pit road. Very interesting pit decision here from him. I'm wondering if this is maybe, if this is a scheduled stop, maybe for track position. I don't know if this would actually be a good call, considering I think he's going to end up going a lap down as a result of this. So not exactly sure what's going on with Matthew Cisna.
But he should get the wave around. So, I mean, on that
3
part,
wide, though. Woo! Kenny Powell, Brian Johnson. We see Paul Hill, Nick King. This is looking like this could be a crash.
I told you they're going to run it until somebody lifts. And you see, that's exactly what happened right there, because there's some guys that they're going to push it, man, and some guys want to race the rest of the day.
Some of these guys are playoff drivers. I mean, some of them are like, hey, I got to get some points. I can't be lifting.
But you got to lift the race another day, man, and that's the thing.
And look at how loose some of these guys are getting. This, you could see out of turn 4, it becomes like you're having to drive a dirt race car. You are so loose, you're going to have to start counter steering.
Yeah.
This is great.
And you'll be able to see, they're racing to the line right now. Looks like it's going to be the 2-1 of Gitter getting it done.
Yeah, Patrick Gitter right now with the 0.3 of a second gap on Matt DeCiani. Of course, DeCiani still under fire, but I think he's going to keep that spot. So Patrick Gitter, your winner of stage number 1, definitely going to do well to get him into the round of 4. Matt DeCiani, of course, finishes 2nd. Clayton Hoffman 3rd. Brandon Pasalacqua in 4th. Derek Heitman 5th. Jeffrey Souza 6th. Randy Mullins 7th. Abner Acosta works his way up to 8th. Dylan Banks 9th. And Kenny Powell takes that final stage point there in 10th. With that, we're going to take a step away. We'll come right back and we'll talk to the 21 of Patrick Gitter.
Hi, my name is Brandon Pasalacqua, driver for Paradigm Motorsports and the number 6, OB Builders, and Ram Welding and Fabrication, Chevy Camaro. I want to say thank you to our men and women in the armed forces, those that have served or currently serving, that protect us from all threats, those foreign and domestic. I've been part of ISCA now for about 2 years. I was the 2023 regular season champion and Final Four driver. I choose to participate in ISCA because of the long green flag runs, respectful racing, and high level of competition. If those are things that interest you, come check us out and join in on the fun.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series. We got Patrick Gitter, Stage 1 winner, up here in the booth with us. Patrick, what a great performance there from you in Stage 1. You were able to kind of rocket your way up to the front and hold on to it. What was it like to get that clean air? Was that the priority?
Yeah, that was just get up front as quick as we can and try to defend. So we weren't waiting around at the front. Tried to get up there as quick as we could, and like you said, just try to grab some clean air. And fortunately, we were able to hold off. I knew some guys. I think Clayton was going to have a really good long-run car, and I knew he was coming. It was just a matter of whether we'd be able to hold on to the end of the stage or not.
Now, of course, is that something you're thinking about for Stage 3 as well? You know, drivers will maybe having a little bit of longer-run vehicles. Are you making adjustments to kind of get there as well?
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be something to consider, especially if we go and get, caution with, 30, 40 laps into the run, that last stage, and then it drags it out to 50, 60 lap run to the end. That'll definitely stretch it out. I definitely don't think you'll see the pace that we just saw now in that. So definitely something to keep our eyes on as we get close to that last stage.
For sure. Now, of course, this is the round of 8 now. Things have gotten serious. The big boy pants are on, right? You guys got to get serious. And you're the reigning champion. You're the defending champion right now. I mean, is the goal to go back to back? What is the thought process right now?
Goal would be to, hopefully go back to back, but I think for now it's just a one race at a time. There's a ton of strong drivers in this field. It's gotten more and more competitive each year, and it's a lot more difficult. I'd consider myself lucky if I'm able to pull that off, but that's so far in the future. I think right now it's, one race at a time. We'll help our teammates out, make sure we can try to get, collectively the best finish we can, and then just move on week to week.
All right. Well, who can we give a shout out to while we let you get back to it?
Definitely Team Conti for helping out with the sets this week. You guys up in the booth, Kenny Front in the league, Barton PC, and Seminario Designs.
All righty, Patrick. Thanks for your time.
All right. Yes, sir.
All righty, that was Patrick Gitter, driver of the 21 machine, our Stage 1 winner, of course, as I mentioned, defending champion. And he said it, Big Al. The ISCA has been getting more and more competitive as the years have been going on, and it's becoming harder and harder to win these races, let alone championships.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And we've noticed that, especially in the last year, man. But here we go. Stage 2, definitely going to be almost a direct snapshot of Stage 1. Drivers now know about that saving up front in order to be relevant towards the end of the stage. Because, once again, if you're one of those playoff drivers, not doing you any good if you're not in the top 10. Lights off on the pace car. He's ready to get up and out of the way, and we're going to go back to making it loud again, Brian. And I'm telling you, we're still away from that one caution that we're promised, but who knows what's going to happen up here in turn 1.
I mean, man, the way that racing was in stage one, I don't doubt we will see something caution possibly. But green flag is out here at Las Vegas. Patrick Gitter wasting no time to get to the gears, and definitely a launch. That was a great launch for the 21. I mean, just drove away from the rest of the field. Matt DeCiani going to try to hold off Clayton Hoffman. Now, one thing I learned from Patrick Gitter is Gitter clearly has the 92 circled. He's got his eyes on him. He knows he's got a fast, long-run car.
Yeah,
we see now Pasalacqua attacking the 92.
I'm wondering just how long. I'm wondering if Clayton's going to change his game plan up, because you got to get out front. Like I said earlier, man, this is not one of those tracks where you're going to let these guys go and be able to reel them back in. You got to keep Gitter close, and the more the leader gets away, the harder it's going to be to for you to catch him again. So.
Yeah, no, I think so as well. But I think it was a matter of time. But even though it was probably only a matter of time for Clayton Hoffman, he still had a tough time trying to get past Matt DeCiani. So if you can just hold him off, just try to stay in his line, run where he wants to run, then I think you'll do very well. But here comes Pasalacqua pouncing on second place and possibly going to try to go for the lead. Now, Brandon Pasalacqua, usually one of the drivers that, he's one of the ones I got circled for the Final Four. And I think he's trying to make that happen here tonight. I think he's going to try to see if he can't get it done and attack here the 21. As here he goes down onto the apron. Bold move here from Pasalacqua. You don't see a lot of drivers go down there unless they absolutely have to. But it looks like Pasalacqua means business.
Well, you can get a little extra speed down there, but it's just, the unsettling part of being down there is what the problem is. And everybody's not always welcoming you back up from down there either.
That's right, exactly. And that's one thing, you don't have to let someone up from up there, down there. Now, of course, courtesy will tell you to do that. If you don't, it's going to cause a wreck, right?
Well, we've seen those happen before. We're not immune to them happening again, as Nick King looks like he's going to try to take a little high side action to get up here. And I'm wondering how frustrated it is for the guys in the back. Derek Heyman even a little bit further back. He is behind the 55 of Abner Acosta. He's got Kenny Powell now trying to best him on his outside, and that's going to be the battle for 10th place. So right there, guys, that's that 10th place cut line, and that's where all the playoff drivers will want to be better than as we get closer to the end of stage 2. This is the last opportunity to get those much-needed stage points.
100%. And if you're in the top 8 in points and you're not up in this top 10 at the end of these stages, that's points you're leaving on the table right there. I mean, you don't want to do that. You want to get every point you possibly can, and that's just going to make it more likely you're not going to be in the Final Four. You have to get stage points. Stage points, we've talked about it in the past, and we'll talk about it again. If you don't get stage points, I mean, what are you doing? I mean, they're more important than winning the race a lot of times.
Yeah, but we talk about that. Where are you going to get an opportunity to get free money in the middle of the race? That's what it's like. Like, come get this candy, baby.
I mean, you just need to pounce on it. I mean, just like, you see Tim Wortman Jr. right now back in 14th. I don't think he actually got any stage points in stage 1. Randy Mullins, I do believe, did. I think I saw him up in 7th, I do believe, at the end of stage 1. So at least he got some points. But, drivers that absolutely need stage points is Tim Wortman Jr. And if you don't get those stage points, you have to win the race in order to lock yourself into the round of 4. But here comes Pasalacqua. Pasalacqua's been battling hard on this top side, trying to take this clean air away from Patrick Gitter. But one thing is Gitter has got help behind him. DeCiani has been kind of almost pushing Patrick Gitter and keeping him out front. And there it is, Pasalacqua finally getting the pass completed. Looks like we're still watching Wortman here, but Pasalacqua now out front, running the bottom line. He ran the top, though, for quite a while. Big Al, you mentioned something that is interesting to me, that it seems like if you run that higher line for too long, does it become harder to run the bottom?
Yeah, absolutely, because up at that high line, you'll see these guys are all staying low. And because honestly, low's the way to go. That Highline has speed, but at the cost of just wearing those tires out a little bit more. And everybody knows how important every millimeter of rubber was towards the end of stage one. So I think a lot of guys are trying to conserve as best they can without still, and still racing.
Yeah, I mean, right now I'm not seeing a whole lot of conservation going on. If you look at this top five, I mean, I see guys racing hard. Passalacqua trying to keep the lead. I mean, I see Nick King. He drove, I do believe, outside of the top 10 all the way up to 5th right now. This guy's not conserving. I'll tell you that right now. As here comes Gitter pouncing once again on the lead, trying to take it back from the 6th machine. He's using the top side, and he's going to take it back. But here comes Passalacqua, tries to get underneath him. Not quite able to get there. As we're seeing a little bit of a breakaway, or should I say a spreading out of the 10th. I do believe the top 10 have kind of, or should I say the top 9 have pulled away from 10th place. Dave Fuse Jr. running the highest he's ran all night. He's up to 9th right now. Of course, he's a new addition to the series.
Yeah, definitely can't wait to see if Dave can be competitive next year and actually be in the playoffs, as he came in a little bit late on us.
Yeah, but he's definitely looking like he's got some speed there in that 9th spot. Of course, Kenny Powell, he's also shown a lot of pace here at Vegas.
Here's some pace, though. Nick King making his way up here into the conversation. He currently is in 4th place, and he is knocking on the back door DeCiani. So go, Nick, go, I guess is what we're cheering right now, as he's made his move around Clayton Hoffman. Battle for the lead here.
Now, he's got a lot of speed. Nick King is flying right now, but I'm wondering, is he burning the candle at both ends? Is he driving it too hard? I think he is. My opinion is he is.
I think they all are. I mean, that's what you got to do if you're going to be up here, man. Now, you might not be up here long, but right now he's getting it done, and that's all he can do. Speaking of getting it done, Gitter has taken back the lead from Brandon Passalacqua now, as he is in the win, the good wins, as he made mention of just how important that clean air really was.
Yeah, no, he definitely has made that key. He said that, he wants to stay up front. He wants to stay in the clean air. It seems like that is very, very important here at Las Vegas. Passalacqua wants to do the same thing, but unfortunately, it seems like it's hard to hold on to the lead for Passalacqua. I don't know if maybe his car not really enjoying the clean air as much as Gitter's is.
Well, I think Gitter's just it's Patrick Gitter. I mean, you're talking about two guys that are just really, really good, sort of making a big deal out of it. So they're out there, and Brian, I mean, they're throwing freaking Hail Marys every lap. I mean, but still threading the needle as Passalacqua now comes out on the inside once again. King got up there, but I don't think he had enough, because now it's really starting to shake itself out. And what I mean by that is, as these three leaders are starting to battle, they're literally just letting it all hang out, and it's really probably going to make them a lot slower towards the end. And that's probably when I think Clayton Hoffman might even just take his opportunity to pounce. And speaking of pouncing, Kenny Powell, he's on the move, trying to get around Paul Hill. That's going to put Powell
I think you're right.
in 7th place.
I think you're 100% right. I think Clayton's been biding his time. I think he's just like, I'm not going to get up there and fight these guys. I don't think that's going to benefit me right now. I think I just need to hang out until about 10 laps to go, and then I'm going to start moving forward. That's kind of like what he started doing in stage 1. But I think this time around, he's a little bit closer to the front than he was in stage 1. So I feel like he's going to be able to make it happen a little bit easier this time. Nick King, though, up to 3rd place. ISC's been running all night long. What a fantastic performance here from the 3 machine. As we're coming up, I do believe now, going to be 16 laps to go next time by. Kenny Powell flying as well. He's the fastest car, I do believe. He almost is the fastest car in the top 10.
Yeah. Way to go, Kenny. Getting it done.
Yeah, a little bit of a wiggle there for Jeffrey Souza. Souza kind of, I do believe, maybe touching the apron in 3 and 4, or just getting loose. I think Souza not liking the handle of that race car right now, as he's one of the slower drivers in the top 10, which, unfortunately, Souza was one of the faster drivers in stage 1. So I'm wondering if maybe Souza made a course correction that, isn't working for him. One thing we know about Jeffrey Souza, just like Clayton Hoffman, Souza knows what he's doing when it comes to adjusting on the race car, but maybe he made the wrong adjustment.
Well, man, look at you, just Mr. Glass half empty. Maybe he's just saving a little bit because we still got
I'm just
a lot
saying,
of ways to go.
is it saving when you get sideways?
Well,
I'm just saying, when you get loose, that ain't saving. That ain't saving. If you get loose and you slide the tires, that's the opposite of saving.
Yeah, you're right. That's definitely not saving.
But look at Clayton Hoffman. He's starting to fly. Here he comes.
Now he's closing that gap right there on Nick King. He's going to show Nick and it's demoralizing, man, when somebody just comes running by. And I'm not talking about the Nick King Clayton situation. I'm just saying, like, when you are giving it all you got and somebody just runs by you like you're like, what the hell? So
it's like he flips a switch. I mean, Clayton is like, okay, save mode. All right, time to go to the front mode.
Yeah, and it's crazy, and that's exactly what he's done. He's engaged the afterburners, and just like that now, he is battling for P2. Now, he's getting that battle done a lot earlier this time, Brian, because you remember, he was right there about three positions out when we came to 10 to go. We're coming up to 10 to go now, and he's putting himself in a position where he's going to be here 2 pounds, and it's go time. I'm thinking right now it's time to go ahead and put the hammer down. So if you're saving anything, time to put it out your pocket.
And I'm seeing some really big loose conditions there from the 3. Nick King not liking the way that car's handling through turn 3 and 4. And I think he's burned a little bit of that rubber off, and he's starting to struggle a little bit here. He's now fallen out of 6th place now. But here, Clayton Hoffman trying to battle with the 1 machine and, of course, the 21. But now one thing that, Patrick has an advantage is that he has a teammate. That's exactly why I think he was able to kind of not have to battle Clayton at the end of stage 1. It's because Clayton had his hands full with his teammate, the 1.
You got your teammate battling, but Clayton's definitely trying to get around his teammate. But here's another thing that's going to happen right now. You see guys that have totally burned their stuff up. This is a great time for a caution because with those tires being worn, guys aren't actually able to get that precision cut to go, say, from the top to the bottom. We got a 3-wide situation down there right now, Brian, and almost pending 2 3-wide situations. So think about that with 10 to go in the stage.
Yeah, Derek Heitman. Heitman was one that was struggling on the longer run in stage 1. Now he seems like he's found, some speed on the longer run. Maybe saved a little bit of tire. He's now up in the top 10. He just passed Kenny Powell. He's up in the 9th and now trying to attack Dylan Banks at the moment. We see also Randy Mullen starting to move forward. I do believe he's in 11th. A lot of these guys, I think, were trying a different strategy here in stage 2. They were trying to save and possibly be a little bit better towards the end of the stage. When you're smart to try that out, I think it's a good strategy for stage 3.
Yeah, Nick King, man, definitely out there a little loose right now. I think he just had a near-death experience as he is right beside Jeffrey Souza.
I think Jeffrey Souza had a near-death experience as well, considering, when someone's loose around you, I think at a track like Vegas, it's very easy for you to get caught up in their loose mess.
Yeah, well, definitely starting to see that. Look at the difference in the lap times. I mean, we're literally 1.5 seconds off the fastest right now. So that's, guys are just bleeding out here, hoping they could keep this thing together. Still got a long way left in the stage.
And who's been at the front this entire time? Patrick Gitter. He's been maintaining. He's been hanging on, holding on to the clean air. As here comes Clayton Hoffman, still trying to charge on Patrick Gitter. Has not been able to get there. We've also got Paul Hill, who's been doing really good on the long run. He's now up in that 5th place position, starting to challenge possibly, I do believe, Brandon Pasalacqua. Now, I do want to talk about Jeffrey Souza. Now, I kind of said that Souza had made an adjustment that seemed like it wasn't working for him. Well, right now, he's looking like he's one of the fastest cars in the on the long run. So I think I might be eating a little bit of crow here because he's looking good right now in that 96.
Yeah, I kind of mentioned he was just conserving, saving a little bit, but
yeah.
Yeah,
You
he's
might have been
definitely
right. I mean, he didn't look like he was when he was sideways, but he looks fast right now.
Yeah, sometimes it's harder to back off and back out of these corners. I mean, if that makes sense, it's actually kind of the faster you go earlier, the easier it is to control the car. If that makes any sense,
But here we go, coming up to 5 laps to go. Patrick Gitter still in control. They have been able to successfully defend against Clayton Hoffman, but Clayton now has his hands full with another contender, Brandon Pasalacqua, as well as Derek Heitman. Heitman's now challenging Jeffrey Souza as we see side by side for the lead. It looks like DeCiani says, you know what, I'm going to attack and I'm going to take this lead. I'm going to try to win this stage as he slides up in front of the 21.
21's probably set them up for a nice crossover here the next turn. But he got to get it done as Clayton Hoffman now slides to the inside.
Almost 3 wide. Here we go.
Looks like Pasalacqua's going to, looks like
sporty.
DeCiani's going to pull it off. Clayton slipping back, further back into the fray. Not sure what's going on. Come on, Clayton, get it going, buddy.
Yeah, I think his run stalled out there on the bottom. He tried to take advantage of DeCiani and Gitter racing one another, and unfortunately his run on the bottom stalled out. And I just think the tires are so worn out that he's not able to get the run he needs on the bottom.
Yeah, Nick King all the way back to 13th place and falling. So if that gives you any indication that, a little bit of a bump there.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of craziness here.
Randy Mullins kind of got into it with Paul Hill.
And I'll tell you what, this has been nothing short of spectacular racing. The long runs, the tire wear, I think that has made this race so insanely interesting considering, we're seeing over a second and a half of fall off. And these guys are having to pedal it. These guys are having to drive these race cars. This ain't easy, ladies and gentlemen. As Matt DeCiani in control right now. For how long? Yeah. Here comes Gitter back to the inside.
Gitter back to the inside. Brandon Pasalacqua also there trying to make his face up into place. And the reason why? Because we've got 2 to go before the stage is over.
Yep, coming to the white flag for stage number 2. DeCiani gets the charge. He gets the exit he needs. Will he hold on to the lead? We're getting ready to find out. Here comes Derek Heitman. Heitman's going to take him 3 wide up top.
I've been trying to find any speed he can. Isn't it amazing all of the different lines that we have going on here? As Heitman now finds himself on the inside.
Heitman on the outside there. As we see, of course, Gitter on the inside. DeCiani, though, is going to hold him off.
That's definitely going to leave a mark there for Heitman. Caution's out, stage 2 in the books.
And that is Matt DeCiani, your stage 2 winner. Patrick Gitter, of course, gets 2nd place. Brandon Pasalacqua getting 3rd. Derek Heitman 4th. Clayton Hoffman back in 5th. Jeffrey Souza 6th. Randy Mullins 7th. Dylan Banks 8th. Kenny Powell 9th. Abner Acosta gets a stage point, finishing 10th. So definitely a good run for the top 10 drivers here. That was an awesome stage, but we're getting ready for the big boy race, stage number 3, which is going to be for all the marbles. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with whoever Big Al wants to talk to.
Hi, my name is Brandon Pasalacqua, driver for Paradigm Motorsports and the number 6 OB Builders in Ram Welding and Fabrication, Chevy Camaro. I want to say thank you to our men and women in the armed forces, those that have served or currently serving, that protect us from all threats, those foreign and domestic. I've been part of ISCA now for about 2 years. I was the 2023 regular season champion and Final Four driver. I choose to participate in ISCA because of the long green flag runs, respectful racing, and high level of competition. If those are things that interest you, come check us out and join in on the fun.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series. We're going to be talking to Derek Heitman. Of course, Big Al standing by.
Derek Heitman, Big Al up in the booth. You got me.
This is unexpected. What's up, guys?
Hey, nothing much, man. Just wanted to talk to you. A lot of things going down there, big things happening. Got a little racy, little sporty for you. Saw you smack the wall a little bit. What's it like down there tonight?
It's a lot of fun. Thankfully, I didn't do any damage when I hit the wall, but that run I just saved for the first 20 laps, and then I decided to carve my way up through the field, and I had a blast doing it. So hopefully we can do it again this time.
So what's going to be your key here, man? Are you going to conserve? How are you going to carve out the longest segment here of the night's stages?
Probably start off conserving. I think pretty much everybody will now that we're out of the short run stages. So I think now everybody will start off conserving, take better care of their tires, and we'll just have to be there at the end and see what happens.
All right. So you got any predictions as how well you guys are hoping to finish here tonight?
My only prediction is a Team Conti car is going to win this race.
Oh, that's a bold move right there. That's a bold statement. So you guys feel that you got the setup to get it done?
We put in a ton of work on this thing, and it is hooked up. So hopefully we can hopefully we can make it pay off.
Don't it feel good once you're out like you should?
I feel like this is the best car we've ever had at a mile and a half.
That's awesome, man. I tell you what, hoping that you guys can get it done. Would love to see you guys up here on the podium at least, if not in the winner's circle, man. A lot of laps put in this week. Who you going to shout out, though, for the effort, man?
Shout out Matt and Pat. I mean, Matt for doing a lot of the setup tweaking, Pat for turning a lot of laps, and then Joe Galata helps us out as well. Me, not so much. I didn't really help out a ton. I just kind of showed up and raced, but I've had some stuff going on lately. So shout out Team Conti as well. I mean, a lot of the things that we know and learned is because of Michael Conti. Team Conti send performance, teamconti.gg for all your setup building needs.
Roger that, boss. Get back to it, and good luck to you for the end of this thing.
Thank you.
Alrighty, that was Derek Heitman, driver of the 76 machine. Of course, here we go, getting ready to get this thing back underway here. Stage number 3 going to be starting here momentarily. And this is the big boy. This is the big stage here. This is the one that's going to possibly cause, or at least should maybe have green flag stops. We've been caution-free thus far when it comes to accidents. Will that be the case here for stage 3?
Well, hopefully we will continue to have caution-free racing. This stage is going to be it's going to look a lot different than the previous 2 stages, I do believe, man. And these guys are going to have to pit 88 laps to go, be 87. So I'm thinking drivers are going to try to get about 40, 41, 42 laps out of this tank of gas here before they bring it on down to the house. What do you think, Brian?
Yeah, I don't know. I definitely think a 50-lap run, 45, somewhere in there. Maybe some guys go a little bit longer just to kind of have the overcut strategy to have. Because when we see how much fall off is, I feel like if you overcut, you'll be faster later in the race. And I think that's what a lot of guys maybe go for. But here we go. Green flag is out here for stage number 3. Patrick Gitter already out front, of course, has controlled the majority of this race. Of course, DeCiani was able to win stage number 2. But I definitely love the confidence that Derek Heitman was kind of talking about there. He believes the Team Conti driver is going to win this race. I guarantee you there's some other playoff drivers that are saying, no, we don't want that to happen.
Yeah, I mean, everybody wants to have their say in their day, you know what I mean? So this is the time to shine. This is where we're going to see exactly who did bring the best setup. But looks like everybody brought a rocket ship. But we're going to see if that rocket can keep glowing, Brian, throughout this entire stage, because it's going to get sporty at 40. I guarantee you that.
Yeah, I mean, but looking at the, 8 playoff drivers, I mean, Patrick Gitter, he's at the front of this field, reigning defending champion. So DeCiani, he's in second place. Brandon Passalacqua, he's in third. Clayton Hoffman, fourth. So that's already 4 of the 8 that are right there in the top 4. Abner Acosta, he's the next playoff driver in 8th place. Randy Mullins, he's in 9th. Brian Johnson is in 10th. Now, Tim Wortman Jr., he's in 14th. So he's struggling a little bit there. He needs to get it together. But just kind of looking at a little bit of a snapshot of where all of the 8 playoff drivers are currently. So that's kind of an interesting thing to look at. I do find it interesting that the top 4 are, I think, some of the 4, I think that, I would even say that some of those guys are probably going to be in the Final Four.
Why does that surprise you?
Doesn't really. I'm just saying, well, I shouldn't say it surprises me. I'm just saying that it's interesting to me that they are at the front of this field right now. And next week is Homestead. Homestead's another track to where you kind of save tire as well. So I think that these top 4 might be in the top 4 next week as well.
Yeah, as we get halfway through this thing, man, I don't like Homestead. But yeah, Brian Johnson now making his way around there.
Yeah, look at him go.
Now he's getting around Jeffrey Souza. He's going to pull up around Clayton Hoffman. So I think he just decided that he was going to go ahead and let her flow, and he's going to get his name up here, man.
He's engaged the afterburners. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think Brian Johnson he won a race recently just by being able to make it further than anyone else, right? Wasn't it him? Brian is really engaged later in these playoffs. Brian has got some speed in that 4 machine, and we got to keep in mind this guy started in 26th in this race. I mean, he started deep in this field, and now he's up in the top 4. Right now, he's about a half a second faster than everybody in this field right now. Look at that, up 22 positions. He's the biggest mover here tonight right now.
Yeah, but everybody set that pace a lot different now. They're running 30.55 to be close, and that's a lot different, than the 30s that we were seeing in stage 1 and stage 2. So a lot of conserving going on. Now, Patrick Gitter is going to be out here, and his sole purpose in life is going to be to drag these guys faster than they want to go in order for them to keep up. Hopefully, then, him still being the save king and having the clean air as an advantage, he'll be okay later on in the stage. But I think a lot of guys are going to be hurting here for certain.
And here comes Brandon Passalacqua. Passalacqua's done what not a lot of drivers have been able to do. He has gotten by the defensive line that is Matt DeCiani. Matt DeCiani has been that defensive line for Patrick Gitter. Passalacqua's gotten by him, and now he's going to be trying to attack the 21. Now, I do want to mention about Patrick Gitter. Gitter is a lot like a Clayton Hoffman, where these drivers know what laps they need to run. They have a very meticulous, a very mechanical, robotic way that they drive these race cars to where they know, I got to hit this lap, this lap, this lap, this lap. And that's how they win these races. They're very methodical, and I think that's exactly why Gitter has been able to be so successful in the ISCA. But here comes Brian Johnson. Johnson attacking for the lead. He's going to take it.
Johnson is he is being that bird dog right now for the Paradigm team. His job simply go out and make Gitter drive faster than Gitter wants to go. That's the thing. Beat a rabbit, make him wear his stuff out. I mean, way to take one for the team. I just don't know how much of that Gitter's gonna go for.
Yeah, I think that Patrick, kind of almost let Brandon go there. I think that he also, I don't think he really wants to be pushed to go faster than. I don't think he really falls for that very much. We don't see that from the 21. Usually the 21. He sets his own pace. He's just a guy that kind of like, okay, you want to pass me, go ahead. I'll hang out behind you, and then I'll get by you later. You know.
Now, those Paradigm guys, though, I'm pretty sure they've got a lot of laps underneath their belt as well. So they have a good idea of what they're doing, and I think this is way more developed and strategized. They're playing get up here, run hard, and they're going to short pit this thing. That's what I'm thinking they're going to do, because that's the only reason I'd imagine they'd be driving this fast right now.
No, I mean, that could be the case. I think that, that'd be a strategy. It'd be an interesting strategy as we see Nick King. Nick King, we saw him up in the top 5. He's now up in the top 5 again here. As he just got up to 5th. He's running the fastest laps in the top 10 as we speak. Dave Fuge Jr. up in 8th right now. So a lot of drivers that, were up here in the top 10 earlier, now back in the top 10.
Yeah. Definitely. They come and go up here. But you got to really save, and it's hard to do that. Because right now you're just looking at an endless amount of laps, if you will. You got to stop. But the key is, what's going to drive that stop? Is it going to be gas or tires?
Tires. I mean, clearly tires are going to be of course you got to stop for fuel, but the real depending on when you stop, tires are going to make or break you. If you short pit, if you try to short pit the stage and get out there, and you're on old tires, older than everybody, you're going to be struggling. You're going to be hating life. But if you do an overcut strategy, you're going to be on newer tires later, and so I mean, I think it's all going to be about who has newer tires win.
Yeah, so analytically speaking, the key to the race card here tonight is saving tires. Now, we saw Nate King demonstrate that you can come up here and run fast and hard for 20 laps, but Nate King finished 14th in the last stage. He went from 3rd place to 14th in a very small amount of laps. So hopefully he took he did write that down and it's not trying to duplicate that here.
Getting ready to fight for the lead. He's getting ready to try to take the lead right now. It looks like Patrick Gitter has fallen back to 4th. Gitter had taken the lead back from Brian Johnson, but then lost it once again. I think Gitter doesn't seem to be handling good in dirty air. I might be wrong.
Well, Gitter's whole thing is he knows how fast the laps he needs to turn in order to turn the amount of laps he needs to get the gas and the tires that it needs to finish the race. And you got to stick to your formula, man. Guys are racing crazy all around you, but you just can't buy into it. And Gitter's always been one of those guys that kind of pulls guys off their game, not really plays other guys' games.
You see Nick King. I mean, Nick King he's putting a lot of pressure on Brian Johnson right now. You can see he's almost pushing him through the corners. And I gotta think that Brian probably doesn't like this. He's probably like, man, just kind of leave me alone right now. But Nick is saying, he wants to taste that glory too. We got to think Nick King, of course, is not a playoff driver. And a lot of people will be like, well, man, why is he racing these guys so hard? Well, it's because he wants that trophy. He wants to win this race. If you win an ISCA race, you're going to be telling all your friends that, hey, I won against some of the best of the best.
Yeah, but you won't be able to do that until 72 laps from now.
100%. But race car drivers don't have that long of memories, big guy. They don't think about it that much a lot of times. But you're 100% right. You're 100% right. I'm not disagreeing with you in the slightest. But that's just why you see these guys up here racing for this lead so hard. They want to win a trophy here. And I gotta say that if we did come down to a short run at the end of this race, let's say a late race caution comes out, I got Nick King circled. This guy's fast on the short run.
Everybody can be fast. Everybody can be fast on the short run. Because anybody could go out there right now, put the hammer down, run around this thing, and without lifting. You could do that on good tires. The thing is, you're not going to be able to do it long. And that's the whole thing. That's the entire point to this whole stage that we're in right now. You got to save tires.
No, I mean, I get what you're saying. But I'm just saying he seems like he's got a race car that can get up front if need be. But, of course, very good defensive work, though, from Pasalacqua and Brian Johnson. He's pushing them to go faster than they want to go as well.
Yes,
Kenny Powell now up into 6th.
Yeah, they're running about a second off their fastest lap times, and I think that's a good place for them to be.
100. Yeah, I think they're definitely doing what they need to do. You know, Brian Johnson's got the clean air, and I think that's his whole objective right now, to try to keep the clean air and hold on to the clean air until he does a green flag stop. I think that's exactly what his plan is. But I love that, you know, Kenny Powell, I do believe he got a 7th place finish last night or in the NIS Open. He also did really well in the Spartan Series. I think Kenny Powell is trying to capitalize on Vegas. Vegas has been really good to this driver. He's a non-playoff driver, but he definitely another driver that he knows how difficult it is to get good finishes here in the ISCA, and even just a top 5 looks good on the resume in the ISCA.
Yeah, it's his league.
100%, but it's his league, and it's hard to get into the top 5 for me. You know?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, no cap, true story. But it's just so early. Here, I'm going to tell you what. Lap 113. Then I'll start talking. Then we'll see about how everybody's doing speed wise. But right now, we're still sitting at about 27, 28 laps out of the stage. I mean, that's still fast time.
Yeah, I mean, we're starting to see some of the guys, I think, that are, you know, struggling a little bit on the longer run. You know, 3 wide, though. Patrick Gitter in the middle. He's trying to take the lead right now. He's going to go in between the Paradigm drivers. Oh, Brian Johnson getting loose. Loose. Whoa. Johnson saves it, though. I thought Johnson was gone. The way that car, and especially him being 3 wide right there, he should have easily clobbered a bunch of race cars. But what a job. What a wheel man Brian Johnson is to hold on to that, as well as hold on to the podium still. Big Al was speechless after that.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here thinking, and I'm going to keep my thoughts to myself. So that's one of those things you just don't want to commentate on. But wow, risque.
Oh, somebody's going through the grass.
We're 3 wide again.
I think we got a replay dialed up here. Dave Fuge Jr. going through the grass here. And this is not a surprise. We talked about turn 4. This is going to be the danger zone, and he gets loose out of turn 4, taking a trip through the grass. He got loose right in front of, I do believe, Dylan Banks. And I think Banks going to probably get out of there with minimal damage. Fight for the lead, though, underway. Patrick Gitter battling with Brandon Pasalacqua. Also see Clayton Hoffman trying to work his way back forward. Hoffman has been saving his tires quite a bit.
Yeah, but I think Clayton's going to the opposite direction of what you think he's going. Because I just watched both Kenny Powell and Randy Mullins go by Clayton, and you know, I'm not sure.
Maybe Clayton has been making adjustments and maybe making the wrong ones.
Well, maybe he's just letting it kind of cool down. Because if you're planning on running through this thing, I mean, you really got to be focused right now, because this is where you're going to be faster later. You got to be just a little slower now if you want to be faster later, and that's hard to do, Brian.
It takes a lot of patience, a lot of wisdom to do stuff like that.
Yeah, it's not Nick King finds himself all the way back in 9th place. Looks like history is definitely repeating itself.
Yeah, no, King definitely not as good on the long run. He's starting to struggle here, and it doesn't seem like he's learned that lesson. But Patrick Gitter, he has been the most dominant driver, I think, here tonight. It seems like almost at will this driver could take the lead back. But Brian Johnson is in the fray now. Brian Johnson is still a contender. Started this race in 26th position, and he's been still in contention.
Yeah, you understand, though. I mean, even while Gitter was saving, he was still racing. While he was racing, he was still saving. And And that's just a formula a lot of guys, you start talking about when they put letters in math when you're dealing with this guy. It's not just the numbers. So like in North Carolina, when they start putting letters in there, just them out, you know what I mean? And that's the kind of math that guy does.
Yeah, no, I agree. Gitter is on another level when it comes to the way he's able to save and race at the same time. And he's been doing a good job taking care of business here. Even though he even said it earlier, I mean, it's getting harder and harder to win in this series. It's getting harder and harder to get championships. But this guy still manages to do it. He thrives, I do believe, when the competition is high. Here comes Kenny Powell, up top, 3 wide. Kenny Powell looking very fast here late in the run. "34 laps into this stage." And you know what that means? We're almost to where I think we were at the end of the stages. So everybody should be at around that same tire wear. We're almost going to be entering no man, or should I say the unknown portion of the race, where we don't really know how the tires are going to react.
I'll tell you the part of the race. We're at the part of the race where Big Al's going to cash in on his one caution. He's going to walk away with the meat tray once again. That's the part of the race that we're at, boys and girls.
Kenny Powell up to the top 3. He's under fire, though, from Pasalacqua. How frustrating does it have to be, though, for like a driver like Pasalacqua, a driver like Brian Johnson, like Clayton Hoffman? They're like, man, Kenny Powell, he's not even in the playoffs, and he's up here slowing us down.
So, 54 laps to go. Green flag pit stops have occurred, so it looks like some of these guys are going to 3-pit this thing. Because honestly, if you're getting tires now, then you're definitely on a different strategy than the leaders are.
No, I to be honest, I think some of those guys, like, if they're coming down now, I think it's because they have to.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, problems! Kenny Powell around.
That hurts.
And there's that yellow flag you were just talking about. Kenny Powell, unfortunately, get turned by Clayton Hoffman. And I got to say, Clayton, really wasn't much Clayton could do here. As let's take a look back at it. You see Kenny Powell, I do believe Kenny just is starting to struggle. The car was not handling as good as I think he wanted it to. He was driving it really hard. Tires are gone, exactly. You see right here, he gets loose out of 4.
Yeah, and there's nothing Clayton can do. At that point, Kenny's out of it. I mean, good on Clayton for not really tearing his car up more than he did. Powell did not receive a repaired requires flag. Pit road's definitely going to be flashing and dashing. Is going to be busy, but it's going to be 50 laps to go at the end of this thing. And although that's well within our wheelhouse on fuel, that's going to be a stretch on tires.
And this is exactly what Gitter was talking about earlier, or no, was it Heitman? One of them two. I think I can't remember which one said it, but they said that if we get a caution right around now, that's going to be a little bit longer than they're going to want to go. I do want to point to the fact that Clayton Hoffman does have front end damage. I was watching in that replay. It was a delayed response. It was a delayed thing to see, but Clayton does have a pretty good sizable dent on the front of that race car.
And Clayton's going to have to make some decisions. Do you get that damage fixed?
He's fixing it.
Do you get all of it fixed? See, now that's going to put him back further in the pack, which means he's going to have a haul to get up to the front. And so he's going to be saving and racing at the same time again. But yeah, a lot bigger deficit when you're putting yourself further back in the hole.
Yeah, Kenny's car doesn't even look like it was damaged at all, but Clayton definitely got front-end damage. I wouldn't be surprised that Brandon Pasalacqua's got a little bit of damage on his race car as well, just considering. It looks like Clayton's got it all kind of fixed up, but Pasalacqua got some side damage. I'd say he probably got hit on his left side. No front-end damage. I think or the right side, I should say. I don't know my left from my right, apparently. But yeah, look at that. You see it? There's definitely some right side damage there. Probably won't affect him too bad, but it definitely could affect him.
Well, it's this, as much as you might assume this track's aero dependent, those little dings I don't think are going to make that much of a difference. As long as that car's mechanically sound, I think the cosmetics are just that. I think they're cosmetics. But man, this is crazy because we were right there at that point. I mean, guys, we were, 47 laps on tires right there. And that's when everybody started sliding and acting crazy. And we got to do that and then some in order to finish this thing. So, yeah, you figure it out.
I'm going to try my best to figure it out. As we're going to have 50 laps to go here, I do believe, a little less than 50 to go under green flag conditions. Hopefully we are able to finish it under green. I definitely would like to see who has the best long-run car. Who is going to... I also am curious to see who is going to lock themselves into the round of 4. Because a lot of people don't... you don't think about it, but if one of these 8 wins this race, they're locked in. They are going to Phoenix to fight for a championship. Doesn't matter how next week goes. It doesn't matter how Martinsville goes. If they win here tonight, they don't have to worry about those 2 races. They just got to worry about Phoenix.
Ooh-wee.
I mean, I gotta say, that's gotta be that would be a major weight off the shoulders. Just let's focus on Phoenix.
Well, that's going to be somebody's fate here later this evening. Lights off on the pace car. We're doubling this thing up, getting ready to take it back green here once again. Those of you just joining us, it has been a little bit of a barn burner. Stage 1, I think was won by Patrick Gitter. Stage 2, Matt DeCiani. So that's 2 different stage winners. Matt DeCiani's leading this thing. Clayton Hoffman was running up in the top 5, but a little unfortunate incident with Kenny Powell somewhere around lap 116 brought out the first official caution for tonight's race, which puts Big Al right there in the hot bird seat.
Yep, for sure. And if, of course, one more caution comes out, that gives me the meat tray, and one more after that would give Kobe the meat tray. But I don't know if it will be any good by the time it gets to Kobe.
Yeah. What do you mean? It's not going to be any good by the time it gets to you.
You don't think so?
We never send fresh meat out of here, dude. That meat's been sitting out in the garage for a week now.
Yeah, I usually give it to the cat, so...
Yeah, cool it.
There goes the base car down pit road. Matt DeCiani enters the Geico restart zone. Green flag is back out in the air. And he wastes no time up through the gears. And really good restart there from Team Conti. You see Patrick Gitter, Derek Heitman kind of all lined up there. I think they're really wanting to get this 1-2 finish. But I'll tell you what, or 1-2-3 finish, I should say. Brandon Passalacqua does not want that to happen. Brandon Passalacqua, I talked about he's been having some playoff woes in a lot of ways. He has had some DNFs the last few races.
So this is the key right here. This is the last stage. So some guys are really putting a lot of thought into this, and they're saying, man, I need to be back here and I need to just be in straight conserve mode. Just clutching around the corners and not putting the hammer down. And those are going to be the guys we're looking for. Now, up front, it's a little bit of a different strategy going on. These guys want to be up front, and their job is to try to make everybody chase. And, Brian, that itself is going to be very difficult.
Well, here comes the driver that we haven't really seen on the podium here tonight, Randy Mullins. Flying around the top side, he's going to take the lead. And he's doing exactly what he needs to do. He's trying to see if he can maybe get this lead, get this clean air. But I don't know. I mean, we've seen strategies such as this here tonight, and they have not unfolded the way I do believe they expect them to. Because, is Randy burning those tires up? I mean, first 5 laps of a run are the most important, I do believe, of the run. If you burn them up in the first 5 laps, they're not going to act right in 40. That's for sure. But here comes Brandon Passalacqua trying to make Paradigm 1-2 right now. And you can even see Brian Johnson as well. So Paradigm says, this is the Paradigm. We got to keep in mind, this race is the Paradigm 250. These guys want to get a good finish here.
Well, key to getting a good finish is getting a finish, and that's the first thing first. Brandon Passalacqua, though, now he is out front showing the way. Look at where Gitter's at. But look at where Gitter's at.
Gitter's pushing Matt DeCiani right now. He's actually pushing him. I see connection. Those cars are touching right now. They're driving at Daytona right now, the way they're racing this thing. You see DeCiani getting a pretty good shove, and he's going to get a shove around possibly Brian Johnson. What a move. Woo. DeCiani almost comes down into the 4. This could be bad. As you see, Johnson gets tight. That almost was a deal breaker right there. That almost was an accident. Brian Johnson got tight because we got to keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, there is air flowing on. Even though it might be digital air, there is air nonetheless flowing around these race cars. And so if you jump up in front of someone really fast, it disrupts that air and causes the car to get tight. And that's exactly what happened to Brian Johnson just now. But DeCiani in control. He's in the lead. Team Conti making a solid run to the front as there goes Gitter once again pushing the one. You don't see that a lot at these mile and a halves where drivers will actually bump trap that driver to the front. Look at there. Here, you can see DeCiani is actually, he sometimes actually pushes him physically. What a drive from Patrick Gitter and Matt DeCiani. As now we're coming up to 40 to go. Next time by. Here comes Passalacqua once again. Getting a huge run on the high side. We still have such a long run to go, though, Big Al. And that's one of the points you've been trying to make.
We're not going to make it.
So I'm hearing we're going to have another caution. You heard it here, folks, ladies and gentlemen. The meat tray is not going to Big Al.
Nope. And I'm pretty upset about it, but anyway. Man, a lot of things are shaking up down here on the racetrack right now. Brandon Passalacqua still leading this thing. Got Matt DeCiani tucked right underneath him. His own Paradigm teammate, Brian Johnson, behind him. And then inside of him, Patrick Gitter. So that's the lead 4 right there. And they're all kind of huddled up, bundled together.
Yeah, it's definitely getting exciting. You also see Dylan Banks further back, battling with Tim Wortman Jr. Of course, Tim Wortman Jr. started this race on the pole position. And, pretty much fell from there. Hasn't looked as strong as his qualifying effort was. But now he's starting to come back. He's up to 6th right now. So a lot of speed showing in that 83. See Nick King also trying to work his way back to the front here. As we see Randy Mullins now side by side with Patrick Gitter. Essentially, the lead has been trading back and forth between the Paradigm drivers and the Conti drivers. "15 laps into this stint, Passalacqua out front. I'll tell you what, the real estate, there's just not a whole lot out there. Oh, a little bit of some blocking going on as the one jumps up in front of Randy Mullins. Randy Mullins has to check up, gets into the back of the one a little bit there. Oh, somebody loose.
I think that was the Derek Heitman.
I am not sure who that was, but someone just went for a ride.
I hope it wasn't Dave Hughes again.
Not sure who that was. I think that was the 61, actually, of Connor Banks. Yeah, that's who that was. I do want to mention Clayton Hoffman. He has not gone hardly anywhere. He's just been in 25th. And I think that could it be as a result of the damage. Just not moving forward. Clayton has just not really been moving forward here, which is, it just seems like something's wrong with his race car. I do not think that he's, I don't think he's under all the cylinders right now. But hard racing towards the front, though. Matt DeCiani driving underneath the 4 machine. And here he goes for the lead, almost 3 wide. Do want to mention the corn man, Josh Schaffner, has entered the top 10. He's up in 8th right now. The double file for the lead. There goes DeCiani. He's going to clear for the lead.
And, you can see a big difference in the way this pack is running now versus the way it was when Stage 3 started. Right now, everybody's bunched up here together, Brian, and that's because they can see the light at the end of the tunnel now. They know that, 33 laps to go. But the problem is, I don't know if they can see 10 laps to go, because that's when these tires are going to be screaming. That's when it's going to be a bad year. That's what's going to happen there.
No, for sure. I think these guys are going to start to struggle more and more, and I think some drivers already kind of are. I mean, so you see the lap times have already fallen off a pretty good bit as it is. As DeCiani, of course, in control. Brandon Pasalacqua trying to take that second spot away from Gitter. Pasalacqua has been favoring the higher line. One driver, though, even though was involved in a caution, he was involved in the only caution that we've had for a cause. Kenny Powell, he's back up in 11th right now.
Yeah, it didn't seem like Kenny had any major damage with his car. I mean, like you said, cosmetically it looked fine. Didn't break anything. Didn't have any required repairs. So he's had that 2-4 back down there. I hope he's just not a little shell shot, because, there it is. Got a car hard into the wall down there.
Josh Schaffner smashes that race car. What happened here? He is definitely probably out of the race after that one. What a hit. As we watch Josh Schaffner. Of course, we talked about Schaffner, and his playoff hopes have just been terrible. I mean, just the way his playoffs have gone. And it looks like maybe some contact between him and Dylan Banks. You can see right here, just gets sent into the inside wall. Dylan Banks underneath him. I think he was trying to go 3 wide. Unfortunately, I think Schaffner was already a little unsettled as it was, and Banks just unfortunately sent him into the inside wall. Oh, what a hit. But now that we're under caution, I think now is a good time. We'll take a step away here once we watch this replay one more time. You can just see this definitely, the car was unsettled when Dylan hit him. But we'll take a step away, pay some attention to our sponsors. We'll be right back.
You went, you served, and forged the relationships that only being baptized in the fire of combat can develop. At FallInVeteran.com, we understand the unique bond that veterans share. That's why we've created a platform where you can connect, share experiences, and build lifelong friendships with fellow veterans. Signing up is easy. Simply visit www.fall-in-veteran.com and create your profile. Customize it to reflect your military service, interests, and hobbies. FallInVeteran.com is more than just an online community. It's a support network where you can find resources, advice, and encouragement from those who understand what you've been through. Whether you're looking for camaraderie, mentorship, or simply a place to share your stories, FallInVeteran.com has it all. Join thousands of veterans who have already found their tribe and start connecting today. FallInVeteran.com. Come join us and experience the power of community. Sign up now at www.fall-in-veteran.com.
Hi, my name is Brian Pasalacqua, driver for Paradigm Motorsports in the number 6 OB Builders, and Ram Welding and Fabrication, Chevy Camaro. I want to say thank you to our men and women in the armed forces, those that have served or currently serving, that protect us from all threats, those foreign and domestic. I've been part of ISCA now for about 2 years. I was the 2023 regular season champion and Final Four driver. I choose to participate in ISCA because of the long green flag runs, respectful racing, and high level of competition. If those are things that interest you, come check us out and join in on the fun.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series. Of course, we're in the Paradigm 250 at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. It has been an exciting race. We've had 2 cautions for cause. Of course, the last one we just watched was Josh Schaffner getting nudged into the, or should I say, sent into the inside wall by Dylan Banks. Of course, Jeffrey Souza out front right now. He took 2 tires to gain some track position. Now, that, I think, a couple years ago would have been a no-no. I don't think that would be something you would really do. But now, recently, the next gen, you can kind of do that and get away with it, and it actually works. So I expect Souza is going to be pretty fast here on 2 tires, Big Al. What do you think?
Well, I think he has got one of the fastest lap times on the board, and this is just going to be a crazy shootout. That's exactly what's getting ready to happen. I mean, we got a 25-lap shootout that's getting ready to go down. So, conservation is not going to be the thing. Guys that have been in the back are going to be up front. Guys that are going to be up front are really going to be having to push it. So, it's getting ready to get intense. I hope you guys had your little potty break, got your popcorn, got your treats ready, because you're not going to want to leave your seats here for at least the next, say, 15 minutes or so.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Pace car down pit road. Here we go as Jeffrey Souza enters the Geico restart zone. Green flag is out. Once again, we got a little bit of a checkup on the bottom row as Tim Wortman Jr. just doesn't get to the throttle in time. Unfortunately, that checks up a lot of the bottom line. Jeffrey Souza, though, wasting no time to get up through the gears. He's going to try to hold on to this lead. I'm wondering, he looked okay in 1 and 2 just now. Let's see what he looks like in 3 and 4. Handling wise, the place you're going to want to handle the best is 3 and 4, but Souza, will he handle good through 3 and 4?
Well, here's the deal. I mean, he's up there with a bunch of fast race horses, and I mean, this is practically go time. So it's not a matter if he can do good. He's just, how long is he going to be up there? That's going to be the question. He's going to get hit from a lot of different angles right here, right now, Brian.
I mean, 2 tires, this is a scary call. I mean, I think it'll work for a few laps, but eventually I think it's going to trend to where he's not going to be as good as the rest of the drivers. As now he's already fallen into dirty air. I think clean air would have kept him towards the front, but already he's lost that track position that he had there. Patrick Gitter back to the front, almost 3 wide as we see DeCiani now attacking his own teammate.
You almost want to be perfect when you come to battle with these guys, and coming in here with 2 half years and 2 good years. That's just not the recipe. The 3 Nick King, like you said, he was your short horse rider, and here he is right now, aggressively trying to make his way up into the top 5.
And he's going to be one. Like I said, I got him circled on the short run. I feel like if you give him a short run, he's going to be up towards the front.
Well, he's right up here, right down next to Brandon Pasalacqua, and he's got Brian Johnson in front of him. So he's kind of in a paradigm situation because he's surrounded by paradigm drivers, and I don't think they're planning on letting him go anywhere anytime soon.
No, definitely not. I mean, even though he's been fast, even though he's been able to, get up into the podium position and such. 4 wide, further back. He does have to get through the traffic, and a lot of this traffic might not let him go. And I think that's exactly what you're kind of trying to touch on. We saw a little bit of 4 wide, though. Surprised they made it through that.
Well, there's some. Oh, you got a car just spun down on the bottom side. Caution is going to be out again. Time to rack him and stack him as our gracious host tries to find it. Looks like.
Looks like.
That's Connor Banks and John Bender going to be involved in that one. I mean, we're handing out meatball flags like it's candy on Halloween out here, folks.
I do know Jay Holm was definitely involved in this. Connor Banks as well. It seems like you saw Connor turn the wrong way. Let's see exactly what happens here. Of course, the 61 team. He's another one of the Team Conti drivers. Looks like he came down. I do believe. I'd say he came down here on Greg Carr.
Yeah, probably
3 wide, and I
I
don't think he knew he was 3 wide. And unfortunately, you see that he comes back up onto the track.
Who hits the
and
19.
Jay Holm.
And then Paul Osen goes in there hard first. Man, is that Jose Medina got him a piece of that as well? Yeah, Jose Medina's involved. Wow, we just jacked up a lot of cool cars.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Connor comes back onto the track and just collects John Bender. And wow, look at that. Just up in the air off of the 4 wheels there. Yeah, you see the 48 machine. Unfortunate for John Bender. Bender was fast here tonight.
I don't think any of those drivers had playoff aspirations, though.
None of them were playoff drivers, that is a fortunate thing for sure. But still unfortunate for some of those drivers that had ran really good in this race
Well,
up until now.
We get to rack them and stack them again, and that's putting everybody back together again. Get a whole new shot at taking off. I guess Souza, we're going to see if he comes down and takes his other 2. But that definitely, the 2-tire call did not make him more competitive.
No, it didn't, which is it surprises me a little bit. But I feel like at other mile and a half, that would have been it would have worked.
Well, maybe in other leagues, I would say that would have worked. But when you come to battle against Gitter, DeCiani, playing the Pasalacqua, any of these guys, pick one. You need the full coat of honor, bud. You cannot come in there with one shoe untied. You got to show up ready to go. Because as soon as that green flag, flew, you could definitely already tell that he didn't have what they had, and that's the problem. You want to at least be equal to or better than when you take off with these guys. Am I wrong?
No, you're right. I just know that in other races in the ISCA, we've seen that 2-tire stop kind of work for a little bit. Like at least he would have stayed in the lead for maybe 5 laps. But this he went right, lost the lead on the first lap essentially, which is that just surprised me. I thought that he would maybe at least lead a couple laps. But no, I agree. I feel like that was not a long-term call. I don't think that works on the long term. I think he's doing exactly what Vegas is known for, and that's gambling.
That's right, baby.
There's a lot of playoff drivers that are in contention right now. Randy Mullins. He's one I got my eyes on him. I think he's a dark horse here tonight. I think that he's one that he's been quiet all season. He's just he's in the top 8. And I think this is the time. If I'm going to pounce and I'm going to win, if I'm in Randy Mullins' shoes, this is the time to go. But Patrick Gitter, DeCiani, these guys have controlled this race. They have been in absolute control, no one has been able to contend with them except for the Paradigm drivers. Now Randy Mullins finds himself as the top Paradigm driver.
Yeah, that meat tray's going to Kobe now. Kobe, it's
That's right.
So from down under, headed your way.
It'll be aged for you.
Oh yeah, man, definitely. Asiago. Yeah, he's gonna get a little sporty here, Brian. Once again, man, I'm telling you, and every time we go into caution, guys are gonna get a little bit more and more bold because now, they're saying, man, I can run 17 laps, full bore, and that's the key right there. Everybody was a little leery at first, but the closer we get, the more reasonable it sounds, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, this is not going to be a saving tire race. I mean, that's not what this is anymore. This is go. This is just, don't lift, go. And when it becomes that style of race, it's a scary affair.
And where it gets even scarier, it gets scarier once you get back to, let's say, 11th place. That's where Randy Drumhiller, and once you get from Randy back, Derek Heitman, all of these guys stopped under that last caution.
Abner taking it 3 wide on the jump. He went up top 3 wide. Matthew Cisna just did not get going. And you can see, just drivers trying to take it. Oh, we already got some smoke out on the track. I think they saved it, though. There we go, wrecking.
Tearing cars up, hoods and deck lids flying everywhere.
Louvers and all kinds of stuff. And
Mark Sanchez involved in that one.
Paul Olson involved again, it seems to be. Let's see exactly what happened here.
Alexander Carr is going to go ahead and take his share of that dreaded repairs required flag here, that 25 bullshit.
Paul pulling down to the bottom here. I'm not sure exactly why he did that.
He could stay out of the wrecks.
But okay, so it's definitely involving Mark Sanchez. He's going to be the one we're going to really want to watch here.
Nick King and Mark Sanchez.
Oh, Nick King comes down on Randy Drumhiller.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Randy was just holding his line, and Nick came down on him, and unfortunately, they had it saved, but then
then they got the dirty Sanchez.
Mark wasn't able to slow down quick enough to avoid, unfortunately, the 3, and that's unfortunate.
I was just going to say, I was watching Nick. Nick actually, he kind of had fallen back from the fray a little bit, but he had actually stopped and got tired. So he was definitely getting ready to put the hammer down. Unfortunately, what happened to him to go ahead and end his day so prematurely. But, Brian, we got some cars back here that are going to be coming. And that's going to be an issue because there's about a 10-lap deficit there between the top 9 cars and the ones behind them.
We got to keep in mind that there's a lot of these guys have been under caution. So the tire, the numbers we're seeing aren't really necessarily, I think, indicative of what the actual tire wear is.
Yep.
These guys have had some times to cool them down, but no, I think there will be a difference. But how big the difference is,
when you're talking about 10 laps just being able to hammer down on new tires, I think that's going to be a huge difference because they can run 10, 12 laps without lifting.
Yeah, we'll see how this all kind of plays out. Of course, Patrick Gitter, he's been at the front all race long for the most part. And we're now, I do believe now, under 15 laps to go here in tonight's contest. None of us were able to guess the cautions here tonight. Unfortunately, the meat tray is just going to have to sit in the garage, and whoever wins next week gets it. So, well, a good thing, Big Al, though, it's starting to get colder outside. So maybe the meat tray will be preserved out there in that garage, unless you got a heater in the garage keeping it hot.
Yeah, I'm keeping the meat. I'm keeping that meat nice and warm, buddy. Not a chance. Not a chance that meat's getting cool.
Patrick Gitter out front. Matt Lisiani in second. That's been a lot of the picture here tonight. Randy Mullins, though, he sits in third. Jeffrey Souza, he sits in fourth right now. Dylan Banks, driver we haven't talked about a whole lot tonight. He's a driver we know that comes up here in the booth occasionally and talks with us. He's in fifth. Brandon Pastelakwa's in sixth. Paul Hill, seventh. Clayton Hoffman, who was back in 25th. I thought the damage was really hurting him. He's in eighth right now. Matthew Cisna, he's in ninth right now, so running pretty good. Derek Heitman's in 10th.
With some new tires.
So yeah, a lot of interesting things could happen here. I have no idea how this is all going to play out. Who is going to be going to Homestead next week?
One more caution.
With a win in the bank. Will it be a non-playoff driver that wins?
I'm telling you, this is the track to do it at, because after this, I mean, Homestead's funky. I can't get my groove on that track for some odd reason. It's not one of my favorites. You know, Martinsville's
It's a tough track. It's a tough track. I mean, Homestead is not an easy track.
Yeah, Martinsville's tricky. So yeah, this is the last, good, easy track, I think you should say.
Normal mile and a half.
Yeah.
Homestead is not a normal mile and a half, that's for sure. That's a true oval right there. It's not a D-shaped mile and a half oval like, Vegas. I mean, these kind of tracks, almost like, Charlotte. Well, I mean, like Chicagoland, like Kansas. I mean, these kind of tracks, they have their unique qualities, for sure. Vegas is unique in its own ways. It has its own character. But it's still, if you're good at mile and a halves like Charlotte, like Vegas, like Chicago, you're going to be good at all these mile and a halves. But Homestead's a whole different animal.
Yeah, absolutely, Ryan. It is a track unique to its own. I think there's one other track out there that kind of resembles Homestead.
Here we go. Patrick Gitter. Getting ready to be up through the gears. He chose the top side for this restart. And here he is. Green flag is out. And he's up through the gears. Can he
got a
hang
horrible
on?
Start. That whole high line is stacked up right now. This is going to be disastrous. Having no choice but to possibly go 3 wide here.
And all these drivers' playoff hopes pretty much on the line here. You got drivers like Clayton Hoffman. He wants desperately to get this victory. Randy Mullins. Brandon Pastelakwa. I mean, you got all these guys that are hungry. They need to get up and around. But with a bad restart, I mean, that just makes things even more intense. That makes the heart pound even more.
Yeah, that was probably Jeffrey Souza's worst restart, ever.
I know you're going to be getting some messages after this race.
Well, I'm sure he would also, agree.
He's going to be like, you're right, Big Al. Here comes Derek Heitman, though. I think you said he's on the fresher tires, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, he's definitely putting them to good use. As he's now battling into the top 10.
Had a little bit of a jerky action going on there. Not sure what that's about. Now that full car Brian Johnson, who's also on new tires.
Brian just got really, really loose on them new tires.
Old tires.
He's almost getting ready to have an incident with the 11. There goes the 11 sideways. What a save for Cisna. I don't know how he kept that going. Wow. Oh, there goes somebody. Somebody just got turned. And that is the 70. Who is that? That's the 74 of Paul Whitney. Of course, we do stay green, but of course that driver has gone around. And it looks like I think he might have got accidentally turned by Nick King. Oh, Randy Mullins into the outside wall. Yellow is out.
Caution is out. That was a hard shot for Randy.
Yeah, that is going to hurt.
Matthew Cisna is going to pick up a repairs required flag out of his slide. Hopefully that won't take him too long.
Mullins very upset with Paul Hill, comes up and shows his displeasure. I mean, I know we keep looking at that 74. We need to see exactly what caused this caution, as it looks like something has happened with Randy Mullins. And I do believe this is the cause of the caution. You see him and Paul Hill bouncing off of one another. Paul Hill goes up into the 54 and turns him. I think, I got to be honest, I don't want to say this, but I feel like the 26, after they banged on the front stretch, I think the 26 just kind of was probably a little upset with the 54, went up and didn't probably intend to turn him, but unfortunately 54 went up into the outside wall, and then you see Randy. Randy is fuming when he comes up to this 26 and shows his displeasure. So this is just a lot of, look at that right there. Oh yeah, that is, there's going to be some talk about that.
I don't know if I would have did it with my nose though.
Oh, this is yeah. Well, yeah, I gotta say, Randy's probably gonna have some problems after this. Maybe with some. There's gonna be some conversations about this. That's. I'll let it be said.
Wait. Let me say it. They going to the hauler, baby. They going
There's gonna be
the
some
hauler.
talking about this. I just know that this is something that you
Randy Mullins.
To the hauler, yeah.
Please report to the NASCAR hauler. Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen.
And that's just, and what's sad about that is just, Paul Hill's not a playoff driver. Randy Mullins is. And Paul Hill's got, Randy's got so much more to lose. And I think that's where he stands. But still, there's no excuse for that. No excuse.
Well, I mean, it's been a spirited season. Paul Hill is no stranger to the danger. I mean, that's not the first skirmish that he's been in. And so,
That's true.
But what do you say? People get a little bit heated, Brian. I mean, that's what goes on this time of the year, especially if you're a playoff driver and you're trying to make your way. And, I mean, we're in the fight for the 8, so I definitely understand his frustration.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting ready to have only 4 playoff drivers left, on a final 4. And what just happened to Randy Mullins, really that lessens his chances even more of making it to that final 4. But I got to be honest, though, Big Al, him doing that to Paul Hill, hitting his front end on Paul Hill's rear end, just lessens his chances even more, considering front end damage is not the way to go here, especially at this track. Look at the damage on that front end. I mean, he might have been able to still be competitive before, but now with that, I don't think there's any going to be much competitiveness to that race car.
All right, so to pit or not to pit, that's the question. Because right now, you got that whole line of lead cars, even though you say there have been caution laps, there's still 24 laps on those tires with 5 laps to go in a shootout. I mean, what are you thinking here? You staying out? I mean, are you coming down?
Well, I'm staying out. Because, I mean, think about this, Big Al. I mean, Derek Heitman, he was on newer tires. We talked about him. Brian Johnson, he was on newer tires. Did those guys make a lot of headway? Did they? I mean, yeah, Derek made it up into the top 10. He's in 8th. But it was still hard for him to get by people. I feel like track position is more important right now.
Agreed. Yeah, there's no way in Hades I'm coming down here right now. You keep that track position because worst case scenario, you're going to be having a green-white checker. And that's going to freeze your position anyway.
What a race. This has been a drama-filled race here. As I do believe we're at caution number 5, if I'm not mistaken, right? Or is it number... Yeah, I think it's number 5 now.
Yeehaw. Yes, sir.
Which usually in the ISCA we do not have a lot of cautions, but we got to think. This is a round of 8. these guys are ready, and they have to do bold things.
Yeah, I was just looking at Frank the Flagman, and he looks kind of funky because, he's got one arm that's like twice the size of the other.
He thought he was going to have the day off. I mean, the way stage 1 and stage 2 were looking, he was like, yeah, I mean, I'm going to get to hang out and go eat some funnel cake.
No, not tonight.
Not tonight.
Not today, Frank. Not today. Man, this is going to literally be a shootout. It'll be 3 laps to go once we take the green flag.
Yeah, no, this is going to be
That's
over in a matter of moments.
At
blink and you'll miss
Vegas. Yeah, this is going to get very interesting.
It's going to get very violent, I believe.
Oh, yeah, we're getting ready to tear some cars up. Relationships will be tested.
But here we go. Pace car down pit road as Patrick Gitter once again going to lead us to green. As there it is, green flag is out. He chose the top once again, and he gets a good launch from up top. And he's going to drop down to the bottom in front of teammate Matt DeCiani. We, of course, see Dylan Banks going to be trying to get a podium here tonight.
It's just hard to get that run if you're on the top row taking off behind Gitter for whatever reason. Every car that he has left, he has literally left behind in the dust. Going into turn 3 and 4, this is what we're looking for.
Yeah, you can see all kinds
of it together.
They're pouncing. They're trying to do what they can to get as many positions as they can.
2 laps to go. Derek Heitman just shoots all the way back across the track. Oh, this is going to get sporty.
Do we make the white flag as Patrick Gitter enters turn 3?
Gitter's giving it all that he can. White flag right now. That means the next flag will end it. Patrick Gitter taking us around one more time.
Derek Heitman said that a Conti driver was going to win this race. Will he be right? We're getting ready to find out as Patrick Gitter down the Nellis back straight, the Nellis straightaway, into turn number 3. And I think he's got it. No one can challenge him right now as Patrick Gitter will exit turn 4, and he will enter the final 4 in the ISCA Super Cup Series. And he won't have to worry about Homestead. He won't have to worry about Martinsville because he's done it at Vegas, baby. What a race for Patrick Gitter. Dominating. Absolutely dominating. I think that this is one of his most dominating wins, I think, this season. Stayed up front for the majority of it. It seemed like at will, Big Al, this guy could get back to the lead.
Yeah, definitely. He did make it look a little easy here.
And, of course, another great job for Matt DeCiani, able to get that solid top 2. Derek Heitman, a little bit enthusiastic. The Team Conti guys ought to be proud of their efforts here tonight. As they have had a fantastic season. But let's go down through the running order here. I got to give that burnout a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, that's definitely a 99 right there. Team celebration, you gotta love it.
But Patrick Gitter winning the race. Matt DeCiani finishes in second place. Dylan Banks, you know, he comes up into the booth sometimes to call races with us. Today he's going to be entering as one of our interviews. We're going to be interviewing him. He finishes third. Paul Hill, even after getting hit in the rear end there, finishes fourth. Clayton Hoffman rallies to fifth. Brandon Pasalak was sixth. Abner Acosta seventh. Derek Heitman in eighth. Jeffrey Souza ninth. Brian Johnson, after starting in 26th, finishes 10th.
That's going to put Randy Wrecking the Mullins in 11th with Andrew Greasebomb in 12th. Kenny Powell comes home in 13th. Tim Wortman Jr., 14th. Greg Wachinski slides it in at 15. Greg Carr, the other Greg, in 16th. Randy Drumhiller in 17th. 18th place goes Nick King. 19, Jose Medina, and Jay Hone runs out the top 20.
Of course, 21st. Sorry about that. At 21st is going to be Mark Sanchez, Paul Whitley in 22nd, Connor Banks 23rd, 24th, Paul Olson, Matthew Cisna in 25th, Alexander Carr 26th, John Bender 27th, Josh Schaffner in 28th, Dave Fuse Jr. 29th, Derek Jacobs in 30th, and Jordan Sailors did not start the race, so that will round out the 30-car field. With that, we're going to go ahead and take a step away. We'll come right back and we'll talk to our top 3 finishers.
Hello and good afternoon. My name is Randy Mullins, driver of the 54 Chevrolet for Paradigm Motorsports. As you can see, we're sponsoring the race tonight, so I'm going to give you a little insight on ISCA. People ask me all the time, why do you run that league? Well, I run it for a few reasons. The long green flag runs, the good respect level that's in there, along with their etiquette. Everyone drives clean and it's fun, but they also race very hard. That is something I've yet to find in any other league on the iRacing server, and you dang sure are not going to get those in the opens. So if you're not in it, come check us out.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series. Of course, we just saw a fantastic finish here. I mean, what a awesome race here. Patrick Gitter able to secure a Final Four spot. Of course, we're going to talk to Dylan Banks first. Dylan, do you read me?
I do.
Dylan, usually a lot of times you're up here in the booth with us calling, some races with us, really interesting to see, now we get to interview you after you finish third. I mean, how does that feel?
Oh, it feels good, man. Especially Pat getting the dub and Matt with a podium finish. I think they got max points today for them. So it's really awesome to see from them guys. They deserve it. Real cool people and always fun to race with. But yeah, anytime I come out here and take a podium finish, it's a great day.
Yeah, it definitely looked like a great day for you. I mean, I know you started in 5th place and you finished in 3rd. Now, I got to say, we didn't see a whole lot of you, after your start, but then you kind of started working your way back to to the front. What was the strategy here today? Was it just kind of all about survive and save tire?
Yeah, especially the first 2 stages, we were just trying to save and chill out and relax. And like 20 to go in each stage, we're trying to start pushing back up there, back up to the front. But dirty air, it's always been bad in the next gen cars, and it's really amplifies on a 1.5 miles. So just find any way to get clean air is obviously going to be key. But yeah, just trying to save tires, manage your stuff, and make a push for it at the end of the stages to get up there. And that last little bit of the race right there, I think with like 20 or 30 to go, it was go time for everybody. Just who can get up to the front and who can stay there at that point. That's just how it goes.
For sure. I mean, how much more hectic was it? Because I mean, it seemed like tire savings just out the window.
Oh, for 100%. It was absolute chaos there at the end, and that's just how it goes. It amplifies, especially when you get up under 30 to go. It amplifies, and everybody's just trying to push to get up to the front. Nobody's doing anything wrong. Just it's time to go, and when it's time to go, it's time to go. People start pushing. Some people make mistakes. That's just a part of racing. But yeah, it was definitely amplified there at the end. Everybody was just trying to get what they could, 105% out the car. And yeah, that's just how it goes.
Were you racing anybody any different, knowing that some of these drivers were playoffs drivers going for Final Four spots?
Oh, 110%. Absolutely. I'm not coming up here and trying to ruin anybody's playoff chances at all off of some guy like me coming up here and doing part-time. It's not right. And I would be pretty upset too if I was in the playoffs and I got my race ruined by somebody that's part-time and has no shot in the playoffs. So yeah, just trying to have some respect on the racetrack, clean racecraft. I do want to apologize to Josh. I won't trying to get into him. From my point of view, though, it just seemed like he came down across my nose and we just kind of net coded and made contact there. Definitely won't trying to get into him though. But yeah.
Well, I'm sure he appreciates that. I mean, I know Josh Schofter's had some rough last few weeks, missing the final, or should I say the round of 8. But I'm sure he appreciates that, Dylan. But great job to you, though, getting a third place finish here tonight. Do we expect to see you next week at Homestead?
Oh, 100%. I'm gonna try to get out and do these last couple races in ISCA with the boys, Pat, Matt, Derek, Paul, all the guys, Connor as well. I love running with the guys, and they're always a blast to be with. And I do want to shout out Pat on the win and Matt second. All the guys tonight were awesome. And I do want to shout out y'all up in the booth. Y'all always are awesome. Love my man Big Al, and Kobe, all y'all up in the booth. Shout out Kenny for the league. And yeah, shout out everybody tonight. Hope we get some good racing to end the season off with.
All right, well, Dylan, thanks for your time, and hopefully we'll get to have you up in the booth again sometime soon.
Yes, sir, buddy. I look forward to it.
All righty, that was Dylan Banks, driver of the EPI 70 machine. Next up, we're going to have Matt DeCiani standing by with Big Al.
Matt DeCiani, Big Al up in the booth. You got me.
Yeah, I got you, Big Al.
Hey, man, congratulations for your P2. Heard you guys put in a lot of work. So, I mean, are you pretty stoked about the way everything shook out for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's the best result we could have got. I mean, got pretty close to max stage points, P2, pack out the win. So yeah, I think the effort we put in definitely worked, and we kind of found something at Kansas, me and my buddy Joe, and we kind of just tuned off it all week, and prior to the week, and we fired off this week great. And honestly, I felt like we had a fantastic car all race, and we just needed to push when we pushed, and saved when we saved. But I felt like we could drive up through the field if we needed to. And honestly, some of that racing in stage 1, stage 2 with Brandon and Brian, that was some of the funnest racing I've had in a while, and it was a blast out there tonight.
Definitely looked like you guys were having a good time down there, especially that everybody was really kind of holding their line and staying in their place. How many laps you reckon you guys put in this week in order to get ready for this show?
A few hundred, and typical 30-lap runs, find out what's good. I don't have an exact number because I did a lot of the work a week or two ago before I was out of town, so I don't have an exact number, but yeah, it just was a lot of pre-prep for this race, and it turned out really well.
Yeah, man, so now that this one's behind you, head on the Homestead. You guys got a lot of meal prep involved in that one. What are we looking to expect from this from your team here next week?
Hopefully more of the same. I think we'll take a similar approach to what we had here and apply it to Homestead. And I love Homestead. Homestead is such a fun racetrack. It's super driver dependent. I think tire management would be more key there than it was here. But yeah, Homestead's a fun track.
Roger, so we did talk to Derek Heitman a little bit earlier on. I do believe at stage 2, you were the winner. Called Derek up, and he actually guaranteed that a Team Conti driver was going to win this thing. Hey, so congratulations for your stage 2 victory. Who you shouting out this week?
Yeah, thanks to you guys for calling the race. Kenny for putting on the league. Team Conti, Martin PC. Shout out to Pat on absolutely killing me on the same set. So, but yeah, he did a fantastic job all night. I knew I was gonna have any short run. I had no chance to beat Pat tonight, but he did a great job. He's done a great job all week, and it's good to see us finally putting these full races together here as we get closer to the end of the season.
Definitely a show worth watching, man. Can't wait to see you guys next week, and as I always say, don't party too hard.
Thanks, guys.
All right, that was Matt DeCiani. Next up, we're going to be talking to Patrick Gitter, our winner here tonight. Patrick, what a race for you tonight, man. I mean, I say this is probably one of your more dominant wins, wouldn't you say?
I'd like to think so, and but a lot of that credit goes to friends Matt and Joe. They did a heck of a job taking a set, challenging themselves to see what they could do to grab something that they liked to build on, and we all kind of came together, put some testing on this week, and man, put out something that seems to have worked. We've had really good success both with the obviously the Team Conti set this week, and then we've been playing around a little bit and came up with something for some leagues, and to try to play around with some temperature changes and what we think a track state change look like, things like that, and it's really paid off. So happy to get the win tonight, but I would have really struggled more so without those guys' help.
Well, you took care of business. I mean, tell us, how does it feel to know that Homestead and Martinsville, you don't really have to worry about those racetracks. You are in the Final Four. How does that feel?
Yeah, it's a bit of a relief. It's a bit of weight off the shoulders. I'm happy that I can take what I would focus on, honestly, myself to try to get in, and I can put that more into some teammate assistance and really be in the mindset of, all right, what do I need to do to get teammates up front and try to get them locked into the championship. So I think that's the biggest change, and that's going to be the mindset going into Homestead and Martinsville. Homestead I'm pretty confident with that will unload well, and Martinsville, I mean, that's a challenging short track with typically a lot of surprises, so who knows how that's going to wind up, but regardless, we'll put our best foot forward at both and try to help teammates to get through to the finals.
Yeah, that's definitely a good priority to have, to try to get your teammates up there, is for sure. Of course, I got to ask, how were you feeling there whenever the cautions kind of started coming out, and it became to where, okay, it's not going to be a long run that's going to win me the race, it's going to be short run speed. Were you starting to get worried? Were you like, oh no, this could not maybe go my way because everybody is kind of on newer tires? Some drivers are, a little bit better on the short run than me.
Yeah, that was definitely something we were talking about in Discord. I mean, after that, so we were about 30 to go. There was that first caution that came out after about, well, I guess it was a 30, 25 lap run, whatever we had. Caution came out 5-6 laps after the first green flag restart, and we stayed out, and we saw quite a few guys pitted, and we're like, okay, we're gonna have to be mindful of who's coming, watch the runs, we're gonna have to control dirty air, whatever, to maybe hold these guys off. And then we had another caution after 5-6 laps, and once we started getting those additional cautions, we started to get a little bit of a safety net. I felt like at that point, the green flag run wasn't going to be long enough for the newer tires to pay off, and at that point it was just about track position, and you were just running qualifying laps at that point. So yeah, I think that played into our favor a little bit with the extra cautions we had there.
Well, it definitely played into your favor. You kept choosing the high line, and that seemed like it gave you good launches on the restarts, and you were able to secure the victory. Now on to Phoenix. That's kind of the main concern I guess you have, and of course you've won there before, considering you are the defending champion. I'm trying to remember, did you win last year's race at Phoenix to win the championship?
That is a great question. Honestly, I could not tell you. I'd have to go back and look. I mean, I know we had a really good short run car last year, so I think like 30, 40 laps and under. I'm trying to remember what happened there. I think Derek Heitman actually won that race, and then
I think you're right. I'm remembering.
I think Derek had the long run car, and he ran away with it, and then everybody else was kind of chasing tail. But we'll see. We got plenty of we got some time to look at that, and I feel like we'll put our heads together and bring something fast for Phoenix. Luckily, we got plenty of time for that, and I know our focus is going to be Homestead, but I feel like we'll be able to bring a fast car there next week, and we'll just do what we can to work as a team and hopefully have another good outcome.
All right. Well, who can we shout out after your good outcome here tonight?
Matt, Joe, Derek, Paul, all the guys over at Team Conti for the support and assistance as always. They freaking brought a stupid fast race car this week. Shout out to you guys up in the booth. Kenny for running the league, Barden PC, and Seminary Designs. Also got to shout out the Paradigm guys. I mean, Matt said it earlier, that was a hell of a race. Running with them, jockeying back and forth for position, trying to figure out who was going to run fast, who was going to save. I mean, Clayton was up there too. Clayton ran a heck of a race too. He had a really good recovery actually after getting caught up in a wreck. So, I mean, I say it a lot whenever I have the opportunity to do these interviews, but the racing in this league is just fantastic. You have guys with really good speed, clean racing. You don't get that a lot of times in officials, and it's just a great place to challenge yourself and be able to get those green flag runs where you truly see what you got.
I totally agree, Patrick. So congratulations on the win. You have the ticket now, the only ticket that has been printed so far to the Final Four. Congratulations, and we'll see you next week at Homestead.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it as always. Thanks, guys.
Alrighty, that was Patrick Gitter, driver of the 21 machine. He's got a golden ticket. Just playing, ladies and gentlemen. Do not. I won't quit my day job. I know, but definitely a great race tonight, Big Al. What are your final thoughts?
Man, I'm going to tell you what, everything that happens in Vegas doesn't necessarily stay in Vegas. Well, at least we hope not. We hope that some of that good joy carries on the next week as we get to Homestead, man. Not my favorite track, but I'm definitely looking forward to it. Tonight was just a little bit too much excitement for the old man.
Definitely was a lot of excitement. Of course, we want to shout out Big Al for being the best co-commentator for sure, and Kobe Jordan for bringing all the action to us. That way being Big Al, makes it easy for us to analyze the accidents for sure whenever he's behind the cameras. So definitely appreciate him. Appreciate Kenny Powell for being the best league owner that a guy could ask for, and the best boss a guy could ask for. But it has been an awesome race. We're tired. We're going to get off of here, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate y'all watching. This has been the ISCA Super Cup Series. Have a good night.
I found the ISCA after I'd been in the service for a long time. I'd been in iRacing for well over a decade, and spent most of my time in NASCAR series, a lot of fixed racing for the most part, and really just got to a point in my iRacing career where I really wanted to get involved in open setup racing versus fixed, partially because I was just looking for a little higher level of competition, maybe a little cleaner driving, and maybe get away from some of the challenges that go along with fixed racing on the service. And it took me a while as I was really searching out leagues, because I kind of had a very specific thing I was looking for. A, I wanted to be an established league. B, I just really wanted clean, quality drivers to be racing around. And once I found the ISCA, I found out really